still got Friday.
We just do Friday.
Yeah, I cleared.
You don't have to do both. Well, I can't do Friday.
That's what I was like.
It's time to wake up, Woodward. The most listened to Detroit sports morning show is about to start. Start your day with a warm cup of Flannel Sam. Or how about a full cup of Detroit Kool-Aid?
Oh, yeah.
Mix in a little JB, and you got yourself the breakfast of champions. Live guests, fan reactions, and updates for your favorite teams. Wake Up Woodward is live now on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward. I need you guys to bring the energy today. I'm not letting y'all off the hook. It's your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. We got Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, the vet of the network, all sports knowing, all sports lover. And you know what? It's a day today. Obviously, it's Woodward Pistons Wednesday, so we're going to have the legend Rod Beard on today. And we're going to talk NBA draft, Detroit Pistons free agency. We were down at Trajan Langdon's press conference. He had some things to say. I don't know how happy it's going to make the people. We will talk about it, but there's a lot that we're going to discuss. The Detroit Tigers, they went out there and they put a little BTA on the A's. It was nice to see those runs get put up on the board and see them pick up our guy, Terry Skubal. And you know what? NHL draft is this week, too. So it's a big, big week for Woodward Sports and Detroit sports.
Little too much going on for my liking, but that's all right.
That's a lot. I was like,
that's okay. But
I'm sure I missed like one or two things.
No, but it does make for a lot of great content this week. And today, we're definitely going to talk about the Tigers. We might even we're going to start the show in just a couple of minutes with a potential Red Wings trade target. Maybe. But also when Rod Beard comes on, who better to discuss Trajan Langdon's comments, everything Pistons, than with Kool-Aid, Rod Beard, Terry Foster, all of us. It's going to be electric.
It's going to be electric. And I can't wait because it's interesting to see how there were certain things we talked about yesterday. And it seems like every time we do this, the NBA landscape just goes and says, okay, we'll definitely do something with that player. And we were just talking about Porzingis. We'll get more into that when we get into the Woodward Pistons segment. But T-Foss, before we get into a little bit of hockey, man, because the Red Wings are that little team that we hope could, right? We're hoping that they do it, man. They got to. They're the one that's right there on the cusp, and that's why I'm glad that we're going to get to spend a little bit more time on them the rest of this week. But T-Foss, I know that you got something wild, wacky, and zany in that mind of yours for us in the chat family before we get going.
It's not wild and wacky, but a lot of times I like to stimulate your brains.
So it is wet.
It's wet and wild.
Let's go.
But I was thinking about this. You know, last night, Tarek Skubal pitched, wasn't his best game. but every time he pitches, it's like the crowds are bigger. There's more talk about the Tigers, and it's more exciting. So my question for you fellas today,
What up, though?
what was more electric? What excited you the most? Watching Tarek Skubal pitch or must-see JV pitch when Justin Verlander was doing it for the Tigers?
I'll be honest with you.
Because let me just say one thing. I think Tarek Skubal is a better pitcher, but Justin Verlander created a lot of excitement because the teams were better, and you thought that dude was going to throw a no-hitter whenever he went out there on the mound. So who did it for you more?
Listen, I agree with your sentiment there that I believe Tarek Skubal is trending to be a better pitcher overall than JV. But JV was a guy in an era of baseball where complete games, that was like his middle name. No hitters, that was stuff that you understood. He could literally just have that any day of the week like breakfast. And so every time he stepped out there, I don't even know where must-see JV came from. I don't know if that started with national media first or local media, but I know everybody was saying it. Even other fans were like, yo, that's JV. And it was just a certain air. And to see how he captivated other stadiums, the no-hitters he had on the road, some of the feats he had on the road, and to see how he got the receptions, there was something mystical about JV, man. And I got to say, JV was that guy for me.
God, Terry, you're killing me this morning.
Because Psycho Scoobs, though, he's been something electric. I'm just getting acquainted with this part of Scoob over the last, second half of last season. How he's been barking at people. It's a completely different energy.
Can I be honest? This is where
No, be dishonest. Tell us a bunch of fucking lies right now. Go ahead, pal.
Fair enough.
us,
Probably not the best way to start, but due to what I do for a living now and what I didn't do for a living back then, I'll probably say Scooble because I am more locked in on sports than I've ever been in my life. And I was locked in before, but Terry, I know when JV was in his prime and doing his thing, you were in a previous sports radio life in which what really made you a legend even more than what you already are. So you have a different perspective. I'm gonna go Scooble because my livelihood in a lot of ways depends on it. Not completely, but you understand. We get to actually talk about it on air when Scooble pitches a game like that.
Well, and plus I'm wondering if you fellas, did you really experience 2006? Did you really experience 2012? That era right there, was that just kind of you weren't following that?
I
great?
experienced it, man, and you're right. When you talk about the heart-stopping, heart-pounding games that the Detroit Tigers were in, and it didn't matter how stacked that lineup was, JV always was the king of that lineup, period. Mm-hmm. It was different, and I believe, though, that as soon as the Tigers start to get into those positions, I do believe we're going to see that out of Scoobs because the way that he barks at the other team, like this guy almost caused a whole riot. It was crazy, to the point that he had to look around and say, hey, my bad, I'm sorry. Like that type of stuff, that's where I'm really looking forward to this era of Detroit Tigers because I do believe Tarek Skubal has the opportunity to pass JV as it relates to this question for me. I really do. He has all the
maybe
stuff.
It's unfair to say that he's passed him at this point because he's basically been doing this for 2 years, and Verlander had a longer success rate. Yep. But the other thing about when Justin Verlander, when he pitched, if you work for the newspapers, the Detroit News, the Detroit Free Press, you were on call every day that Justin Verlander pitched, because if it got to the fifth inning and he hadn't given up a hit, you got a phone call. Hey, you got to be near the stadium.
ESPN would have it up. If it was if it was JV pitching, ESPN would have it everywhere, which was the absolute crazy thing. And let him have a no-no in the fourth inning. You all of a sudden you start seeing alerts all over. Let it get to the seventh inning, and all of a sudden they're jinxing him all over the place. Like he was something else, man. And I do, like I said, I do believe that a lot of that has to do with what this team was doing, what was at stake, and the fact that JV a lot of times was pushing this Tigers team, not just in the regular season, but also in the postseason until World Series?
That was a great question, Terry.
That was.
Gave me like a lot of food for thought to start the day. But speaking of food for thought, the Detroit Red Wings, they are clearly in the caboose when it comes to the Detroit sports teams right now in their rebuild. But hey, they've got an impactful offseason coming up. Could be very, very impactful. And some rumors have continued to have circulated. Shout out to Roberto from 97.1. But some rumors have circulated when it comes to the Detroit Red Wings. And one of them, Justin, is one Mr. Noah Dobson, defenseman for the New York Islanders. Do you have more on that, good sir?
Yes, I do. And this is courtesy of Stefan Rosner, the Islanders NHL beat reporter for NHL.com and the Hockey News. He reported that there was an offer on the table that the Red Wings had for the Islanders defenseman Noah Dobson. That offer includes JT Compher, Nate Danielson, Jonathan Berggren, and the first-round pick from this year, which is 13th overall. And that will get you Noah Dobson straight up. Flannel,
Ooh.
how do you feel about that?
I would do it.
I was about to say, put this in basketball terms.
And here's the thing. Is Noah Dobson to me, like, there's a lot of good UFAs available when it comes to defensemen. You got Aaron Ekblad, you've got Ryan Lindgren, you've got Vladislav Gavrikov, you've got Ivan Provorov. I understand that, but that seems to me, and maybe I'm missing something, a steal for Noah Dobson. And I understand Noah Dobson's not a perfect player. I think my one knock on him is that he's been a little inconsistent. Like his year before, 2023-2024, he had 180 blocks and 70 points, which is absolutely insane numbers when it comes to being a defenseman. He had a really good year in 21-22 as well. But the previous two, 22-23 and last year, were a little bit down. But if you put Noah Dobson on this Red Wings team, he would probably either pair with Seider or be an extreme upgrade on the second pairing as well. So if you told me right now that Steve Yzerman made this deal happen, I would be happy. What say you, Justin?
I personally, I love this deal. I think it's great. And you were actually referring to 2022, 2023 when he had his down year. The year before this year, he had 70 points, and that was the year he had 70 points.
Yep.
And the reason for that is because the Islanders' power play went from being the third best in the NHL to being the second worst in the NHL. So that was a cause for most of his point drop. He still managed last year to have an 82% projected WAR. He is very good offensively. He has a lot of skill. He's got a wicked one-timer. He is a righty, but he can play lefty, and I love that when it comes in terms of who I want to try to pair Mo Seider with. I want to try to pair Mo Seider with a offensive defenseman that still can play some defense, but it takes the pressure off Mo Seider to be any type of offensive defenseman. He can play what he is good at. He is supposed to be a lockdown defenseman, and that's what I'm trying to do with this move. Is Noah Dobson will come in and he will be that guy who is making those transitional plays, getting the puck out, and that's what this team lacks. And this is not a Wallman or a Gostisbehere who also sucks at defense. Dobson is also a very solid defender. And so when you're talking about a top pair where if you were to sign Dobson, he's an RFA and free agency, you would still be an offer sheet. So you'd still be giving up 2 first-round picks most likely for the contract that you would be signing him to. And that's why you're giving up Danielson in a first-rounder. But I'd rather give up Danielson than an actual first-rounder because that you get rid of Compher's contract.
Whew.
And that's where this all kind of ties all together, is getting rid of Compher's contract and giving you more space to do more. And like if you get rid of Compher's contract, that is $5 million extra dollars that could go to another D, another forward that could actually help this team. And that's what I really want. I want to be we all know they are 4 or 5 players away. They're 2 top 6 forwards, 2 D, 1 top 4 D, and a goalie away from being legit contenders in the NHL.
It's funny you should mention that because the thing that Steve Yzerman mentioned when he first got on the job is building from the net on out. He hasn't done that. But it's one thing to say that the Wings defense stinks. Here's the way I look at it. The Wings defense makes horrible decisions in their zone. And all of a sudden, They turn the puck over, and now they're scrambling to try to recover. If you can bring this guy in and reduce that, then the Wings' defense is going to be a lot better. If you reduce the turnovers, I think that's what kills them.
Yeah, and this is someone who would 100% help that, and it would take like a lot of pressure off Mo Sider, because Mo Sider will be able to just not make those mental lapses in the defensive zone. He'll be able to focus on his defense, because last year with Sherratt, he had to be the transitional defenseman on top of the lockdown defenseman, and it's a hard role to do. And Dobson is a guy who needs an anchor. He's a guy who needs a defensive anchor as an offensive defenseman, someone who he can trust, know that he's going to be back there to support him if he goes on the rush and goes and tries to make a play. And that's what this team needs. We need the 5-on-5 scoring from the defensive position to help us create goals and stop goals. So this would be a perfect ad for me. I think that Dobson brings a ton, and he's also 6'4", 200 pounds. He doesn't add to the issues of this team is small. He actually helps them that is a huge D pair to deal with if you're dealing with Sider and Dobson. Sider is 6'3", Dobson is 6'4", both over 200 pounds. Like, that is going to be a pain to play against when you're an opposing team.
All right, Scoop, when's the press conference?
What, for Steve Yzerman?
Yeah.
To
bring in Dobson.
To bring in Dobson? I mean, if it happens, it will be on draft night.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, you know what, you say 4 to 5 players away for title contention, and I was going to ask you this, though. A move like this, what does this do for the Red Wings today?
They would be a playoff team.
Yeah.
I think that this is a move.
Like solid playoff team, or you talking
They got to make
securing
one
of
more
them wild
move.
cards?
They're one more move away from being a playoff team. They are so close. They would be in the same place they were 2 years ago, where they're fighting on the last day of the season. But it wouldn't be like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I guarantee they're making the playoffs. If they were to bring in another top 4D or a top 6 forward, I would be calling for the fact that they would be able to make the playoffs.
But a move like this, obviously, is one that's going to make you a little bit more encouraged with where the Yzer plan is going this summer, that they are going to make the necessary and the corresponding moves after to get this team to playoff ready. Because I get it. And the more and more I listen to our Puck Norris, the more I'm hearing that, listen, sometimes in hockey, it takes a long time. It takes a long time to build a winner that you know is going to be more than a flash and pan and has that longevity of success. But it does feel like we're coming up on that time where this is the season where those Red Wings have to make those playoffs. And you don't want to see them be just kind of a cute team in the playoffs. We were encouraged by what we saw to the Tigers this previous season. We were encouraged what we saw to the Pistons. And we were definitely encouraged out of what we saw to the Lions in their first playoff run. I just wonder if the Red Wings, especially if this is a move that they would do, if you're more encouraged about them being closer to that, what we seen out of our other 3 teams than not.
I'll say more encouraged than I was before, yes. Would they probably still be a cute pinch your cheeks team in the playoffs?
Shout out
Sean
That's where I'm
yes.
at.
Yes, with just this, of course they would. But
is that enough for the people?
No, it's not.
It would be a huge step in the right
I need to
direction.
hear from you, Justin.
But as I said previously, Noah Dobson is not all eggs in that basket. There are plenty of other options. It's just with Noah Dobson, I think what makes him intriguing is that he's 25 years old. He may not have even scratched the surface of what he can be
some
yet.
potential there.
And he's had some seasons, like we mentioned, the 2024 season, in which he really put up some staggering numbers and was very, very effective, and the Islanders made the playoffs that year. And, yeah, Justin, you're right. The power play fell off a cliff as a whole. The team was a little dysfunctional. They sold off Brock Nelson. That's going to affect pretty much the team from a top down. So he's still a damn good player. Love to have him on the Red Wings. The thought of him pairing with Sider instead of Sherratt is tantalizing. Yeah, that might be enough for them to just get into the playoffs. But that wouldn't be the only move that they would make.
Right.
I'd be shocked if it's the only move they made.
I got the NBA terms for you, Kool-Aid.
Let me know. I'm ready.
It would be essentially trading for Jaren Jackson for Ron Holland, 2 first-round picks, and 2 seconds because it's so inflated in the NBA.
But that's
do it.
Dobson?
Yeah. And you would be able to cap dump someone if you wanted to
I'm
cap dump
fired
someone.
up. That's
Probably
5 other
Tobias.
things, man. Are you kidding me?
Throw in Tobias, maybe.
I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
So that would be a tantalizing Red Wings
Thank you for
trade.
translating that for me, guys.
All right, when's the press conference for that one?
I need that ASAP.
Noah Dobson is supposed
I
to be
just want
Jaren
press
Jackson
conferences.
Jr.
That's all.
Go ahead, Chase.
You said Noah Dobson is Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chase.
That's an opinion.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to compare the sports. I mean, Dobson is a borderline all-star defenseman. I feel like Jaren Jackson is a borderline all-star.
I mean,
And they're
Jaren
both
Jackson
good
Jr. would
on
be
both
equivalent
sides
to a
of the
Norris
ice and
Trophy
floor.
winner in the NHL. He is a defensive player of the year. Like you're talking about, he'd be considered like a Norris Trophy winner. Is that what Noah Dobson is?
Probably not Norris.
I mean,
I don't think
not
it's a
Norris,
close
but
comparison at all.
I mean, it's hard to like. There's not really like players who are like awful at defense in the NBA. Like Dobson's still a B defender, a B plus defender in the NHL. Like he's not gonna be as good as Sider will be as a defensive defenseman, but he's still very good defensively, but he's very good offensively. So maybe not the best comparison, but it was just the first one I thought of.
No,
I
he's
appreciate
a
it.
top pairing guy, but yeah, no Norrises.
Yeah, definitely no Norrises.
No Norrises, and that's okay. That's okay because
But is Jaren Jackson ever going to be the best power forward or the best center in the NBA? No.
Probably
Would
not.
Kool-Aid, would
So-
Jaren Jackson be on the first defensive pairing for the Pistons or the second defensive pairing
First.
for the Pistons? All right.
first.
Definitely first. Listen, if you guys go back, you can rewind the tapes. Some of my hapless dreams that I knew would never come to fruition, like Devin Booker, Triple J. That's one of the guys for a very long time. Just pick a guy in the NBA that you wish you could have in a Pistons jersey. It's been Triple J.
Spartan Door.
I really
Devin
wish
Booker should have been a Piston. Stan Van Gundy, when we were asking him what the Pistons
So
needed
wild.
that year, he described Devin Booker. I mean, he didn't say his name, but he described him. That's the player we want, a guy that can shoot, a guy that can stretch the floor, a guy with energy. He said everything except a guy from Grand Rapids. So then I'm thinking, okay, Devin Booker's coming to the Pistons. He did not pick him.
It doesn't even make sense. Like you know what's the craziest thing? It's the training camp stories that you hear. It's crazy. Like I've heard them from you for some time, both on air and some stuff behind the scenes, and then hearing them from other people around the way as well when I'm at the games and such. It's crazy. Like there's no way you can have Donovan Mitchell miss nothing, and you're like, scratch. Not that guy. I don't get it, bro. I don't get it.
Oh,
But
then Stan said, well, we don't go by what happens in workouts. You got him in your building.
I like Stan in
This
a lot
is
of ways.
this is not tape. This is
Man.
not hearsay. He's in your building, killing your guys and killing the draft pick potentials that you have
Listen, the scout, the fine scout that SVG was, he knew Cade Cunningham was in the pipeline. He knew. Maybe he was just setting things up for that.
there. That was it. He just wanted Cade Cunningham to the Pistons.
Because that's why they didn't take Halliburton.
Even when Cade was in high school, he knew he would
They
be
felt bad for
available
Hallie.
for
They
the
were like,
Pistons.
why would we bring Halliburton here to just live like front row, front and center in the shadow of Cade Cunningham?
Right.
So they passed on him.
Yep.
What the hell?
What the hell? Hey,
the
but you know what?
And before we move on, there's
Go
just
ahead.
one thing. It has come out that it
Yes,
does
sir.
not look like Mitch Marner is interested in Detroit. His teams that he is interested in are Vegas, Dallas, LA, Anaheim, Carolina, and Columbus. Rip.
Bum. Well, good thing.
If you listen to Woodward Wings, I told you that last week because
You did.
we all thought that was never going to happen last week. So shout out.
Hey, you know what? What up, though, L? Welcome back, my brother. It's good to see some of the people in the chat, man. Dante151, Steve O Baby, Greg. What up, though, with Detroit Gunny, Vince E, A Diz. Hey, it's gonna be a show, man. I'm glad to have the cast and crew that we have in here today too. Let's go ahead and run up those likes, and let's get into it because we got Victory Tigers to talk about.
Victory Tigers. They Kool-Aid, you've kind of coined this. This is absolutely 100,000% a handle your business series. And the Tigers, they handled business on last night, and I believe, Justin, weren't you in the building for that one?
Oh, yeah, I was.
Very, very nice. So we'll get into it when we get back.
And
Talk
to be fair,
Tigers. Yeah.
it was the Handle Your Business Tigers. Y'all remember the suit and tie Tigers? Toy Hunter and those guys,
Oh,
they
yeah.
would make a play,
Yeah.
and it was about all business, and then afterwards they would act like they put on their suit and their tie. I was like, you know what? I like that. And they're like, wait, Toy was like, we gotta handle our business.
Handle your business.
Just don't put on your zoo bobs.
Come on, T-Ball. I will put on that hat though. That hat's
Okay.
fire you got over there.
Bam.
Tell us about Mad Packs, JB Smooth.
Oh yeah, I got you.
My
I'll tell you
favorite
about
read.
Mad Packs. Chase here to talk to you about Mad Packs. Mad Packs is the hottest new cannabis brand, and they have partnered with us here at Woodward Sports. They've launched their new products on May 30th. That was an epiphany too. Shout out to that. Yeah, they are available in select retailers right now. Get high low, getting you high for the low. Kool-Aid's favorite right
Get
here.
there.
That boom
Get that
shakalaka.
boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka. The live resin infused tarantula. This one is the bomb. We got Blizzard Packs, THCA, moon rocks that hit like a blizzard. Stay tuned with us here at Woodward Sports for more details.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us Friday, June 29th at the Old Miami in Detroit for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw, East Town, and Ven Johnson.
Hey, Tony, what's up, bro?
Same circus, different clowns.
For sure. You want the usual, the big zip?
You know me too well.
I threw a little something extra in there for your ma.
Oh,
Hope
man.
she's doing all right.
Ay, guy, sei un santo.
Ah.
You're a saint.
All right, buddy, we'll see you next time, okay?
Grazie.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
I think you won.
David Tully, everybody. David Tully. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports. A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Les Stanford Buick and GMC has great offers for everyone. Get a 2025 Envision Preferred AWD for only $259 per month, or try out the 2025 Sierra Double Cab Elevation for only $169 per month. Don't forget about the 2025 Hummer EV SUV for only $699 per month. Get to Les Stanford today and check out their massive inventory. Les Stanford Buick and GMC, LesStanford.com.
What up, though, peoples? Wake up, Woodward. And you know what? You guys already see my guy Flannel. Victory Shades. Shout out to White Claw, the sponsor for the White Claw Tigers tour this year, hitting 4 of the top bars in Metro Detroit, in downtown Detroit. Excuse me. And you know what? They give this swag out, this march out at all of it. So we got the White Claw Victory Shades on to celebrate the Detroit Tigers' 11-4 victory, the first game over the A's. And you said it earlier. I'm going to continue to say it, especially in a lot of these games now. A lot of these are turning into this handle your business series. And it was good to see them really have a little bit of pop last night in a game that Scuba went out and pitched. And some people would say it wasn't necessarily his best stuff, but what we've wanted to see this team do is continue to prove this one thing. This is a real squad. This is a real team. They pick each other up. They've continued to sustain their winning despite anything else that their stars or main players may be doing. This is a completely different squad, in my opinion, than last year, because I do believe that the aspects of slumps that they would have went through last year, the aspects of when the bullpen dipped last year, we saw this team dip. This year, it's not that. It's just the best team in baseball that continues to go out there and win series.
Well, this year, they're a wire-to-wire, at least so far, dominant baseball team. To this point, I mean, 20 games over 500, best record in baseball, best record in the American League by far. You have to call them dominant. But what I liked about last night, and you always love to see it, Tarek Skubal had a bad game, or had probably one of his worst performances of the year. And the Tigers still blew the A's out, and Tarek Skubal still went home with the victory.
13 hits for the Tigers.
And here's the thing. Going into the series against the A's, you know that they've got some young, talented players that are really exciting to watch. Brent Rooker hit a moonshot. You saw Denzel Clark actually kill the Tigers with a bat, which you never like to see. You saw... yeah.
Seen.
And Brent Rooker is one of the best baseball players that not enough people have heard about. He's should have been an all-star last year, will be an all-star this year. And, you know, obviously, you know what they have in Jacob Wilson. He's going to be an all-star. But the A's Achilles heel is that they can't pitch. Hey. And what did the Tigers do? Just completely rocked around, like effed up Luis Severino.
Hey, you know what, T-Foss?
Yeah.
Hey, first of all, what up, though, with Detroit Gunny? He just said, I just put my shades on. Shout out to you people out there with the victory shades on. But T-Foss, can you show us just with your hand the way that they smacked them around last night? The Tigers bat smacked around the A's pitching.
Well, you know, I need more room, but it was the bench slap.
Damn. I love it.
Get out of my face. But you know what, gentlemen? I keep hearing this among some circles.
Yeah.
The Tigers have the best record in baseball, but they're not the best team. So then my question is, who is?
I mean,
people obviously they're going to tip the cap to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Just like we probably would even if the Lions were leading the Eagles this year.
Yeah.
And so I get that, instantly World Series champs, but I'm becoming less and less scared of the Dodgers and less, like, I respect them, but it's getting to the point now where I'm feeling a little bit stanky about my Tigers, man.
But once again, I tell you, do not worry about the team in the other division. Who in the American League is better?
I wouldn't say better, but I'd say not the greatest matchup, and that's Cleveland. I don't think there's any team that's better in the American League. I think that we struggle when we play Cleveland, and they see Skubal enough where they can tap Skubal around a little bit. So I personally wouldn't want to see Cleveland, but I'm not scared of Cleveland.
Well, the best part is Cleveland might not make the playoffs. And the way it shakes out, see,
is Houston on there?
No, Houston's somebody that the Tigers need to be mindful of, and the Yankees. Those are my two. And I'm not saying, and I think the Tigers are better than both.
I'm sorry, Flannel, I gotta do it. Yankees trash. I don't mind.
All right, well, they're not trash, but they have since 2009, they've been good almost every single year. They've made the playoffs almost every single year. Almost every single year, they've had some of the best players in baseball, like Aaron Judge this year, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto last year, Aaron Judge many other previous years, and you can go way, way back to the days of like A-Rod and whatnot. But they haven't gotten it done.
Yeah, you know what, fellas? You can go back to before I was born. Whenever the Tigers play the Yankees in the playoffs, here comes that ass kicking.
That's what I'm talking about.
11-4.
And it doesn't happen.
That's what I'm talking about. So that's one team where it's like, okay, everything else goes right for this team, yes. But when you change up the environment and the conditions just a little bit to say Detroit is the team they're facing, the Yankees turn into, the quote high def stuff, a pumpkin.
But
Shout out
they've
to our
also,
brother.
as a franchise, won a lot of World Series since the Tigers have last won one. So I'll give it up to them, but I do think the Tigers are better than the Yankees this year because I think I think the Yankees are worse
I'm
than
going to
they were
turn you
last
into
year.
a rival hater one day.
I think that them losing Juan Soto was absolutely huge, and that will be a detriment to them. I think a lot of it depends on if Giancarlo Stanton can be in the playoffs healthy because he was really
Their best hitter last year in the playoffs.
Him and Juan Soto showed up. Aaron Judge did not. But I'll tell you what, with the Tigers, though, they are becoming and proving to be a very, very talented team. And, of course, it's led by Riley Green, who had just another ho-hum great day, 4 for 5.
Goodness.
And, JB, if you've got that in Slack,
Yep.
Riley Green's AL rankings this year and his numbers in June. He's tied for 5th in hits. He's 3rd in doubles. He's tied for 5th in home runs. He's 3rd in RBIs. He's 4th in slugging, and he's 7th in OPS. And, oh, by the way, in June, he's added on to his already great year by having the best month of his life up to this point. 4 home runs, 21 RBIs, a slash line of 388, 432, 650, and an OPS of 1.082.
Do you know what else he did?
What do you do?
He made your list. He made your all-star list. Amazingly. Wow.
And it was tough. It wasn't like he was on version 1 or even version 2.
Locks.
So shout out to Riley Green.
The key
just
word
make a
is
list.
lock. And Riley Green in his last, 4 or 5 games? 4 games, I'll say, has supercharged his game to... The series he played at Tampa Bay was probably the best series I've ever seen him play, and then he follows it up with a 4 for 5, 2 runs, 2 RBIs. The man is playing like a superstar
He was
right
humming yesterday.
now. Dude, he is locked in. Like, what was he, 6 for his previous 10? What is he, 10 for his last 15? Add a couple of walks in there, a couple of bombs, doubles. The man is locked in. He has
That
been...
average
I think he's
Riley
10 out of
Green
his
just
last
jumped way
16.
up, man.
10 out
It's
of his
so
last
crazy.
16. All right, fair
He's
enough.
swinging with some aura too. I can't lie. I'm not joking. I'm in the camp now where I'm starting to see a little aura seep out from Riley Green.
Okay.
But he still runs funny.
He still runs funny, but he's doing a little trots and
But it's
bat
to the
flips.
point where
and-
it's like
Aura's
the
all
aura
over
is
the
starting to
place.
ooze so much that the trot is going to be it's starting to become really cool.
Well, but the point, the reason I bring up Riley Green is because right now he's playing like a superstar. To me, this season, as of right now, June 25th of 2025, up to this point, he's been a top 5 positional player in the American League.
Yeah.
And that's huge. That's big time. Obviously, we can talk about a plethora of Tigers who have stepped up. But Riley Green's the man. Riley Green is El Capitano, and he is the best player on the best team in baseball. So that, to me, is one of the reasons why...
Did we just forget about Scooble, man?
Best positional player.
Yeah.
Obviously Scooble, but like the best positional player on the best team
What
in baseball.
first world problems
Fair.
we have to talk about here, man? Because
Yeah.
those are mistakes we will make when you got players as good as Scooble and as good as Riley Green, who kicked things off as all-stars last year, and now this year, they're just superstars in my opinion. By the end of this year, there's going to be no question both of them are going to be known like that. Scooble already there in my opinion. Riley Green, Scooble's just already there. Period. Riley Green, he's definitely going to be a person that by the end of this year, it's not going to be any more conversation. And this is why, shout out to our brother KG, we were in lockstep with just let's let this thing just ride out a little bit more for Riley Green, because you got to think about it. Riley Green put himself on the map. even though we understood the promise and the potential, and even though some scouts out there might believe in certain aspects of Riley Green, not until you make an all-star game are they saying you're one of the big dogs and one of the big boys. Now, all of a sudden, you make an all-star game and you start the season off with teams knowing, attack that guy. And they're going to try and attack every aspect of your weaknesses. They're going to scout you a little bit more. They're going to break your game down a little bit more because then they start to realize this team can go out there and have just Riley Green days and literally beat you on offense. And so to see him be able to navigate how teams were going to attack him as now this guy, this star on the map who's now ascended, that to me is what's been most impressive. And you have to think about it. It's not like these teams are going to stop trying to attack him that way. It's just, to me, Riley Green is that professional of a hitter, that good of a ball player, that water finds its level.
Superstar status? Hang on,
by the end of the season, Riley Green will be at, by the end of the season, Riley Green will be at superstar status unquestioned, like Scooble's at right now. But by the end of the season, I think it will be.
I don't think he quite reaches that at the end of the season. I mean, are we going to is TV going to promote him, Riley Green, and the Detroit Tigers, and playing Cleveland?
Right.
But I don't.
From that aspect,
you know
right.
me, guys. I don't care about that. You know how upset I
But that's
get.
how you become a superstar.
You know how
he is right though.
You know how upset I get about how the just fawning over Ellie De La Cruz, even though he's actually has.
But does
worse
Riley
numbers.
Green deserve that though?
Okay, here's my opinion. Right as we sit here right now, I don't think Ellie De La Cruz or Riley Green are bona fide superstars yet. I think that they both have superstar potential and are on their way, because I'm not going to say that Ellie De La Cruz isn't having a great year for a Cincinnati. Here's what I think Riley Green can do to become a superstar. If he finishes the season with an OPS that starts with a 9, following up his all-star season the year before, to me, he's a superstar. Or if the Tigers win the World Series and Riley Green just contributes, then he's the best positional player on a World Series team. Then those are the two things that he can do to become a superstar. He's not there yet. Even with his hot streak, his OPS is 890, and obviously the Tigers, they got to prove that they can, win DS Series and CS Series and, of course, the World Series. But Riley Green, there is a path, at least to me, but he's not there yet.
I'm with you, Flannel, because what I was going to say was I think that the regular season, he's there. I think he's arrived. I think that he's close to that superstar status. But like Terry said, he needs that coverage, and I don't think he's going to get the coverage for us this season. I think the only time he'll have that coverage and that the eyes on him is the playoffs.
Which is wild because they're the number one team in baseball.
I hate to break the news to you guys, because I know you guys are all, if you have the good stats, you're going to be recognized as a superstar.
Nope.
No, you got to have some fluff about you. I mean, you got to say something stupid. You got to do backflips. You got to date a model.
There's a reason why Javi Baez is third in All-Star voting right now for outfield.
You have to do something outside of that. And
So
I'm ashamed to say it, but that's the way it is.
So what can we get Riley Green to do so that now he can be noticed? What does he need to do?
Just I don't care
Pimp
about
some
that
homers.
stuff.
Come
some
on.
homers,
right.
That's
Pimp
what I'm
some
talking
homers,
about.
Riley. We need it.
No, when you hit a home run, grab your crotch. I don't know what you do.
But that's not.
Call Carlos Guillen and start talking ish as you're walking to first base.
The problem is, though, that's not who he is.
I know, it's not.
I'm okay with him being the more humble star who may come off to some people as a little bit awkward and no aura, which makes me want to commit homicide when people still say that.
Just flip off
I'm
the camera
serious.
when you hit a home
I'm
run.
serious.
No.
Who gives a damn?
Who's the first
I'll
person?
be your accountability partner.
Go
Who's
ahead,
the first
Chase.
person in the room you're going after?
Well, nobody in this room. I'm not. Nobody in this room.
He thought about it.
Nobody in this room. Let me
I
be
can't
clear.
see where you're looking with those glasses.
That's right. You never know. But all right, so Riley Green obviously deserves all of the glazing. He's a lock for an all-star. He's been, to me, a top 5 positional player in the AL up to this point. But I don't want to forget about the plethora of Tigers players that stepped up, and some of them are proven, which is another thing that leads me to believe that the Tigers could be true contenders. You look at Gleyber Torres. He's been proven over the course of his Yankees career, but with the Tigers, he stepped it up to another notch, just another ho-hum, 2 hits and 2 runs. That's just basically what he's done all year, be as reliable and consistent as they come. on-base percentage is in the 380s, which is insane. You look at Kerry Carpenter breaking out of the schneid a little bit. He's not completely broken out of it, but a big swing of the bat. And I'll tell you what, say what you want about Kerry Carpenter. He does have a particular set of skills, and you know what else he has? The greatest Tigers playoff moment in years.
Oh, man.
He's a proven postseason performer. Maybe not in totality, but he had
Tell
that
me
moment. Yeah.
it wasn't aura from Kerry Carpenter coming down that third baseline.
All I saw was the 3-run home run against Class A to give the Tigers a win and a lead.
Third to home.
Guys,
the aura was coming through the TV screen, bro.
You know why I don't like that, and Neil Rule was spot on with that. You can use aura to fit any narrative you want. If a guy's not performing, so what? He looks cool. If he's great like Riley Green, you can use that as an excuse to why you don't like him. Oh, he runs funny.
Now I'm waiting for him to use aura with Darko.
Oh my goodness.
Shout out to Neil Rule. Not a bust, huh?
Let's shout out another player who has been playing great since he's come off the injured list, and that's Wencel Perez. I mean, he continues to rake. He's 1,000 OPS since coming back off the injured list. Another couple hits last night. He takes great at bats to switch hitter. He is really adding to this lineup. He's got an over 307. He's got a 307 average. And you can't ask for more when someone comes off the injured list, especially when you got guys like Torque and Carey who are kind of slumping a little bit right now. Javi's came back to life. He's hitting 800 OPS in his last 30 days as well, so that's great to see. So what I love to see about this Tigers team and the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows of the season is the fact that even when players are struggling, other players are stepping up to fill that role. And like right now, Torque in his last 30 days has a 500 or 600 OPS. He's not playing well. But in that time, Wencel Perez, Javi Baez are all playing extremely well. Parker Meadows hasn't really found his swing yet. But we're still finding ways to win games. We're still finding ways to have players be able to be plug and play and win games, and that's all you got to do.
And the thing is, you never know where it's coming from.
Yeah, and that's a full circle moment. That's where we started with the fact that this team is proven to be a real team, and I think that's what their most dangerous weapon is. And that's on a squad that has Riley Green and Scooble. But we've seen, even if those guys just don't happen to have their best stuff for a game or even for a stretch of games, this Tigers team is still looking darn near like the best team in all of baseball. And I get it. There's some people going to tip the cap to some of the teams in the other division, and there's some people who are going to have a high regard for the Yankees, Astros, and such. But for me, the Detroit Tigers just continue to prove why they're just so unbeatable. Because at their worst, they're looking like a team that's going to have the rest of the guys pick this team up. And at their best, you got to deal with Scooble. You got to deal with Green. You got to deal with Torres. You got to deal with a squad that's gone from 2 to now multiple, 5, 6, all-stars. And that, to me, is what's so awesome about this squad. And it's cool to see people in the chat just going crazy for the Tigers. And good call on Wencel Perez by you, Justin.
Yeah.
And shout out to Dylan Dingler, too, man.
No, I promise I was going to get to Wencel Perez and Dylan Dingler. But that's the thing. The Tigers have so many heroes that continue to step up. And to further the Wencel Perez love in glazing, in 75 at-bats this season, he has a 1.007 OPS. That's a small-ish sample size, but it's not that small. That's almost a month's worth of at-bats. And he's been not quite a month's worth, but almost a month's worth, and he's been absolutely raking. And last night, too, let's talk about the top of the 7th inning. How does the inning get led off? A Tyler Soderstrom, rope to right field that looks like it's going to be a for sure double, and then Wencel Perez throws him out. Then a Denzel Clark single, and then a Jacob Wilson hit, which he tries to stretch into a double, and Wencel Perez throws him out. You want to talk about picking up a pitcher that's struggling. Chase Lee really didn't have it. The A's started the top of the 7th, and they were only down by 3 at this point, with 3 consecutive hits. And do you know what that ended with? Runner on third, 2 outs, and then Chase Lee retired Brent Rooker.
Flannel.
That's insane.
That great throw that Perez made, you know what that's called?
What's that called?
Defense.
But Wencel Perez also played well offensively. Terry, I've been completely misrepresented.
No, you haven't. Well, no, you have. That's, in fairness, you have been.
I don't put a lot of value in players who can't hit worth a lick but play great defense. If you do both, your defense adds to what you can do, but I think you got to be able to hit in order to play on my team. If I'm GM Flannel, you got to be able to hit a little bit. That's why Parker Meadows went to the minors last year despite being a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. If defense was that important, hey, he should have been up there still.
It's a balance.
I just know the last few shows I've been on, you've been barking about defense, so it must mean something.
Hey, it means something. But I still think Wenzel Perez's 2-run double was the most important thing he did last night. But it's arguable. It's arguable. His throws were spectacular, and I know some people in Tigers fan sphere lament the guys in the outfield not having the best arms. Well, Wenzel Perez, even if he doesn't have a howitzer, he did what he had to do in order to gun down a couple of
what about
A's.
that tag? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, baby.
And you know what, though, with this team, it's just awesome to see this squad continue to step into what is elite. This team does a lot of good things. I know some of the complaints or some of the worries or concerns we had coming into the season that we just don't have anymore. And there are some guys who, like we continue to highlight with the squad, they just continue to step up. That's what makes this trade deadline, I believe, the most interesting for the Detroit Tigers in a very, very, very long time. And I love the fact that from their front office, they're using the phrase World Series.
Yeah.
You know, so it's going to be interesting because you know what else Scott Harris said? That they're going to be aggressive at the trade deadline. That is a word that we did not hear, in the right connotation, from one Mr. Trajan Langdon, the
No, we
president
did
of basketball
not.
operations.
And
for
we
the
will get
Pistons.
into that in just a second, but
Yes,
I got to shout out your guy too and Chase's guy. Dylan Dingler, man.
Hey, shout out Dylan
The
Dingler.
best way, if you're Dylan Dingler, the best way to find yourself in the All-Star game as a reserve, just hit with some more power. Get that OPS up and up and up. And he hit that 3-run homer was big time last night. It was absolutely big time, and he's obviously been a revelation for the Tigers this year. And remember how I said that Javi Baez, Torque, and Dingler, one of them will get the final All-Star spot? I know Javi might get in because of voting no matter what, but I think at least one of them is going to get hot and maybe claim a spot. And Dylan Dingler, man, that was a nice start last night too.
He's going to play himself well beyond what the normal narratives are for a player like him. You say the situations that might keep a guy out like that. You talk about getting hot. I think that just puts him in a position where you can't keep him out. Right now, he has effectively a claim, but you see the way that some of the other catchers and such are going to lay as it relates to this team. But when you look at what Dylan Dingler is doing, I don't know how you continue to say what his performance is something that's not All-Star worthy. So if he gets hot, that's talking about playing with lava. That's even greater than if Torkelson gets hot.
Well, that's always the caveat. I think somebody's got to get hot. And Dylan Dingler, unfortunately, Torque had the day off and Javi Baez didn't start. So Dylan Dingler took advantage of his opportunity. And I know, Chase, you're high on the Dylan Dingler is the most deserving of the non-locks on the All-Star to be a Tigers All-Star and an MLB All-Star. What'd you think of him swinging that big stick last night?
Hey, yo.
Yeah, shout out Teddy Roosevelt. Definitely spoke softly and carried the big stick last night. But outside of Cal Raleigh, I think he's played himself at a high enough level to where he would have made it into the All-Star game with a little less question surrounding it. It's just we're seeing a pretty incredible season out of the catcher in Seattle, just raking at an incredible level, especially for Seattle not being a park that's known for being hitter friendly, hitting the ball out. So I think this kind of one of those situations where just two these are two ships kind of cruising the same direction. Cal Raleigh's a little bit further ahead than Dylan Dingler, but either way, I do think he is definitely deserving, and I'm hoping that he'll make it into the All-Star game.
Well, yeah, Cal Raleigh, he's an alien right now, and we would all agree with that. I think Dylan Dingler's biggest competition is Alejandro Kirk from the Toronto Blue Jays. And the thing that Kirk has that Dylan Dingler doesn't have is he has a batting average over 300, a higher OPS. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's more valuable to the team. But how about a Dylan Dingler hot streak and an Alejandro Kirk slump? How about that?
Does Alejandro
it's-
Kirk have some of
make it
those
work.
laser light highlights though, roping it down to second base? Like it's not
Doesn't
just
have as
about
many.
hitting it.
Doesn't have as many. That's fair.
Yeah,
Doesn't have
exactly.
as many.
So you
Fair enough.
gotta
Hey,
play both sides.
put a. Hey, Dylan Dingler, make the All-Star team. I'll be cool with that.
I'll be cool with that too. Something tells me that a lot of people in this area will be cool with that, including though somebody who's not in this area, and that's Mr. Rod Beard, who I know is on the line. I can't wait to bring him on because we're gonna have to deep dive into the Detroit Pistons conversation, NBA talk. We got the NBA draft starting up today. It will have to be seen if the Detroit Pistons are going to be active tonight. If not, day 2, the second round is tomorrow, where the Pistons pick number 37th overall. So let's get Rod in. I can't wait because we do got some notes. We do got some videos. We do got some quotes from the Trajan Langdon press conference. We want to get into that. JB Smooth, what friends do we got to say what up, though, to?
We probably got to triple up. So let's do merch, Planet Fitness, and the Massage Chair House.
Let's go.
Let me tell you about some merch. Head over to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. New designs dropping for you every single week. But I got to tell you about the ones up on screen right now. We got the Woodward Tigers gear that you should be rocking down at Comerica Park. I hope you rocked it yesterday when the Tigers got that big win. And you can't forget about the Red Wings. Shout out Kool-Aid back there. The LFG Red Wings t-shirts, hoodies. They are still available for you, yes, right now at woodwardsports.com. All you got to do is click on that shop tab. And you know what? You can also rock this gear at Planet Fitness.
Absolutely. Planet Fitness, where teens between the ages of 14 and 19 can work out for free all summer from June 1st to August 31st. Want to keep those youngins in shape when they are out of school and maybe don't have PE classes or a place to work out. Go to Planet Fitness, of course. And of course, Planet Fitness offers all the best amenities, the cheapest memberships. Don't have a rock wall, but that's all well and good. You don't want to be paying too much for your gym. Where you get the black card, a little bit more pricey, but still cheap relatively, and you get more amenities like the ability to go to any Planet Fitness in the world. Join today in Club or online. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
And the Massage Chair House.
Yeah, everybody looking to massage or upgrade your relaxation game. Check out the Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, the largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest. They have top brands of massage chairs like Infinity and Osaki, located on the corner of Long Lake Road and Woodward. Experience luxury comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan, the Wellness Doc, creator of the top YouTube massage chair review channel. Book a visit at www.massagechairhouse.com or scan the QR code. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasta salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Buddy's Pizza's been serving the original Detroit-style pizza since 1946, and 79 years later, they have 22 locations in this great state of pure Michigan, and fans can still visit where it all began on the corner of 6 Mile and Conant. Sign up for Buddy's Rewards to earn points on every purchase and receive exclusive promotions. Download the Buddy's Pizza mobile app and start earning today and add some Detroit style to your next meal. And remember, guys, save that 10% off your entire order using promo code 10MEAL. That is the number 10MEAL. Buddy'sPizza.com. Attention sports fans, that's all of you beautiful people out there. Don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. You guys want to join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Big D Energy, every Thursday on Ermanni Network, who is offering you top-notch injury advice. So you guys, you want to make sure you trust the guy that D-Mac does, because Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944. Hey, it's Wake Up Woodward, chat family. Need you guys to go ahead and smash that like button. Let's run it up because we do got the legend, Mr. Rod Beard, on. He is the senior sports editor at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And you know what? It's so fitting because we got some teams on that all dysfunction list, Flannel Sam. And I got to ask Rod because one team that he's covering now is on that list, and they just did something. They did something. We're going to have to ask Rod how big of a something on the day of the NBA draft. Shout out to the legend Detroit News Rod Beard. Just our guy. He's still Detroit to me, man. You still repping. Still here on the show. But Rod Beard,
he's got the taupe wall like he's back in the Detroit office again.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
He's got the taupe background wall just like he did in the Detroit office.
He does.
Feels like
that
home.
is the KG wall.
That is the wall. Let's go. Let's go.
You know what I like?
What up, Dutty?
Detroit News got rid of his ass and then got a brand new building.
Dang, that's how much he was making?
That's tight.
Hey, that building costs. It has pool tables in it, but it costs.
Pool tables? Snap. How do we get a pool table in here?
You buy one.
That's yeah.
So we're not getting a pool table in here.
That's okay though.
Right. Welcome to the show, brother. And listen, we've done a lot of these shows breaking down the NBA draft. The very first NBA draft show we had on this network, you were actually one of our special featured guests alongside one Rashad Phillips and Vince Ellis. It's awesome to see where all of you guys are at today in your respective careers, and the fact that you guys took a chance on little old Woodward Sports and what we had going on back then. And now I'm grateful to be doing this, and we get to talk about a draft that really does not matter all that much at all to the Detroit Pistons.
We think today right now we can say that.
Right now we can say that because it is interesting. PR, they hit me up and they said, hey, you coming to our thing tonight? I'm like, what's going on tonight? Like, we picked tomorrow. So, yeah, we're just having the media over. So, I don't know. They're having a media watch party. I'm definitely going to tap in a little bit, and we're going to see what happens if Trajan wants to trade back into that first round, because there are some players that are of interest, especially you talk about Danny Wolf, you talk about Maxime Reynard, who I know Randall Smalls talked about yesterday. So, there's some stuff out there for the Pistons. And the thing is this, I don't expect those pieces to play huge roles for the Pistons right now. So I've been trying to play this thing where I temper what the draft means for the Pistons in relation to what a lot of the questions from the press conference were centered around yesterday. And that's effectively, what are you going to do this offseason? But Rod, we're going to start this thing a little early. Take it over Rod's thoughts, and then we got to break down this latest NBA trade and what it means for your squad and our squad here.
I'm thinking about this Tyrese Halliburton thing, that you're compromised because of the cap strain. You're going into Game 7. You didn't play well in Game 5. You're okay in Game 6. The calculation to say you're going to risk injury in Game 7, you just have to play. You have to, if you're an athlete and you're in that situation. But to lose an entire season of Tyrese Halliburton going for the championship, it is a tough thought to go through and say, would you, wouldn't you? Most people would say they would for a chance at immortality and going through and being an NBA champion at that point. But the risk is now you see the other side of it is you're out for a year. And now it just throws the East in a tailspin of, like, who is the favorite in Cleveland? Is your favorite in the East now? And then who? So it puts the Pistons in a place where you can go. We had been talking in the past couple of weeks about, do you go for it at this year? I'm leaning more toward maybe you do.
Yeah.
Not something super risky and not crazy, But there is more incentive to go for it now than there was a week ago.
Yeah, it seems like it continues to get there, and that was a lot of the questions that we were hearing yesterday.
I think it's less.
Oh, you think it's less? Because you had an interesting take last week.
Yeah, because a lot of the teams you thought were going to be great have disappeared. And when you look at that, that would elevate what the Pistons have now as one of the elite teams in the East now. So I don't think I would take a chance on ruining chemistry, on giving up too much to try to bring in a what I call a sniper. So I would tend to not risk it as much now, but that's just me. Because I'm in this nice comfy chair.
You're in the throne. That's why you can say such things.
Yes.
Goodness gracious. But you know what, Rob? When you talk about the East being wide open, we talked about those all dysfunction teams, and at some point in time, we're going to have to rank those squads, because there's a lot of them. And I believe Boston Celtics said, we you know what? The reports of our demise, greatly over-exaggerated. This is a world-class organization that's still doing world-class things. It's interesting to see this team get below that second apron and give themselves some flexibility to be able to still maintain something, even though Jason Tatum is going to be out. You look at Dame Lillard's out with the Bucks. We don't quite know what their process is moving forward. So there's still some dysfunction there. We don't know what Philly's going to do. We saw Orlando strike. And Trajan Langdon spoke to that. He says he really, really, really likes what they did, what Orlando did getting Bane. He says he's not going to make that deal if it hampers the Pistons, but if a deal like that materializes for the Pistons, he says he absolutely will. That includes getting rid of some of those draft picks to be able to bring in a player that you think can change the trajectory of your franchise. He also likened Bane to that level of players I would assume that's just beneath the stars. He didn't mention him as one of those big deals. He mentioned him when he talked about the deal as one that I do think you got to keep your eyes peeled, especially during the draft when a lot of teams have more flexibility. I am intrigued at what the Pistons might do, and it is comforting to know that he has his ears open to it. But another one of those squads, Rod, that we talked about, and we discussed when the Pistons were sitting at 10th or 9th in the East, are there any teams ahead that they could pass? And we identified they're going to pass Atlanta and they're going to pass Orlando. Orlando done things to try and shore that up. Atlanta right now, they decided to play in this game of being a benefactor of a squad trying to get beneath the second apron. And that's where Shams reported. Breaking, Boston, Atlanta, and Brooklyn are finalizing a 3-team trade that sends Kristaps Porzingis and the second-round pick to the Hawks, Terrence Mann and Atlanta's number 22 pick to the Nets, in Niang, and a second-rounder to the Celtics. What does this do for the Atlanta Hawks as it relates to that all-dysfunction team? Because I know that they're still trying to figure things out. I don't get the sense that they're ready to just kind of throw on the towel and restart. I don't get the sense that they're trying to restart how they're going to build around Trae Young. I get the sense that they're still trying to keep themselves as a playoff team and get better next season.
Yeah, and they've been the perennial play-in team. We talk about the Pistons being aiming for the play-in. Atlanta is trying to get out of the play-in and get into the playoffs. But they're trying to build something around Trae Young, and maybe this is the advantageous piece of that you get Porzingis, and you're betting on last year being more of what he is, that he can shoot 40% from three and be a big presence for you in a bigger role. And they need big men. They need somebody who can stretch the floor. Onyeka Okongwu is sort of developing into that, but not there yet. So assuming Porzingis can be healthy, assuming that he can carbon copy what he did last year, you get off of George Yang, who was one of their more consistent players, about 10 points a game, and Terrence Mann. It doesn't appreciably improve their roster, but it's something. And if you have to do something and you can get a second-round pick out of it, sure. You're giving up a first, and it didn't look like they were going to do anything with 13 and 22. There might have been some talk that they could package both of those and move up to 10, but 13-10, is there really a big difference in that in this draft? Probably not. So, yeah, if you take a gamble on Porzingis and this comes up all sevens for you, then you feel good about it at the end of the day. But they had to do something, I think, and this is at least something that they're trying.
And to piggyback off of that, Rod, I look at the Atlanta Hawks. I look at a team that presumably is going to get Jalen Johnson back healthy, Zachary Richase. showed some promise in his rookie season. Maybe he has a sophomore bump.
He was good, bro.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was very, very good. Kristaps Porzingis, even though he missed a lot of games, I think he only played 42, and come playoff time, he was sick with something. When he played, he was borderline dominant at times, and we know Trae Young, even though I'm not a super big fan of his game, he's a really, really good player. Do you look at this Atlanta Hawks team with the move that they just made as a team that can actually make noise in this wide open East?
Depends on what the noise is. I mean, they're not going to shake up and be in the top 5 or top 6 in the East with the roster as constituted right now. Porzingis would have to really have a breakout year for that to happen, but they'll be in the range of being 7, 8, and being in the playoffs, or at least at the top end of that play-in situation, not just on the outside as a 9 or a 10, hoping to just squeeze their way in. Either way, you're going to have a tough time in the first round of playoffs against the 1 or 2 seed anyway. So, I mean, what are we doing? If you're on that treadmill of mediocrity, that you're in that 7, 8, 9, 10 range, then really what's the point? And so that's the part that you have to get out of. And I think they need to do something else. And again, you hope that Jalen Johnson is going to be healthy, and that's going to significantly impact their roster too.
And I'll tell you what, Rod. Sorry, Terry. Just one more quick thing. I completely forgot about someone who might even be my favorite Hawk right now. Dyson Daniels is made a huge jump offensively and is a
quick to
demon
becoming one
as
of those
a
good players
defender.
that I hate because of how good he is.
So I'm not saying I'm not trying to hype up the Hawks like they're an actual contender in the East, but they're not. I think my prediction is they get out of the hamster wheel of the play-in and actually are maybe like a 5 or 6 seed. If obviously there's a lot of ifs with Porzingis' health and Jalen Johnson and whether or not Richase goes into a slump, but I think they're going to be more formidable than they've been in the recent past. Save for
right, and that's all they need.
Yeah,
and that's all they need to try to keep Trae Young around and make sure that he stays and doesn't get frustrated by being on that treadmill.
Yeah, definitely. And, as you continue to look at the East with some of the shakeups that has happened, I definitely want to be able to just mention another trade that did happen because it was intriguing. It was interesting. As soon as we put up the graphic of Jordan Poole in a Detroit Pistons jersey, and should we do this, like it seemed like hours later there was a trade. The Pelicans are trading C.J. McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, former Detroit Piston great, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 overall pick. So, shout out to Troy Weaver, man, being involved with a whole lot of Sadiq Bey trades. But it's interesting to see what some of these teams are doing. I still don't really expect much out of Washington out of this upcoming season. I still don't even really expect much out of the Pelicans. But as you talk about teams that in our conference, in our division, that will be directly with the Pistons, it can affect what they do going forward. This trade, it doesn't really do much for me, but there are some players of interest there that I thought that the Pistons could have taken a swing on. So it's intriguing to see multiple of these players in one deal that I now believe the Pistons are going to be firmly out on, Rod. Beyond that, the Kyrie Irving and the Mavs to commit to each other on a big deal, a 3-year, $119 million extension. So they definitely believe in everything that they got going on there with AD still there, Cooper Flag on the way, and Kyrie Irving. But for me, obviously, it's always going to be about the Detroit Pistons and how all of this matters to them. That's why we're looking at a team this year who they did not care about that draft pick or losing it at all. They wanted to be able to prove that they were a playoff team, not even just a play-in team. Now they have to prove that they can maintain and that it wasn't, as Sean Blegian would say, what is it, cute little team. Pinch your cheeks type, cute little team. They have to prove that they're there, and that's where I want to get into a little bit of what Trajan Langdon was saying too. But overall in the East, I wanted to be able to just kind of get your filter as we're getting into the draft. Just a brief little power ranking. You still see the Pistons right now as that 4th team, or where do you kind of see them as things have continued to settle so far in this offseason?
Somewhere in there, but I don't even want to go through it right now with free agency still there, the draft still there, because we know there's going to be so much change that happens. Like, can you assess the Bucks right now and say what they will or won't be?
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, the Celtics probably aren't done. The only team that you can say they are what they are and they kind of will be that is the Cavs. there's so many questions around the Celtics, Knicks, Pacers, Bucks. And those are the teams ahead of the Pistons. And the Magic, if you want to even start talking about that, are they really done yet either? Maybe. So if you talk Cavs and Magic, those are the two teams that might be kind of solidified on what they will be when the season starts. Closer to that, everybody else seems like they could be in some type of flux and some type of change of what they're going to be. So we can go through it, we can talk about it, but again, let's play our game again. Yes, 5 teams that the Pistons will be better than when the season starts. Will they be better than the Wizards? Yes. Hornets, yes. Sixers, yes. Brooklyn, yes. Raptors, yes. There you go. They're a play-in team at best. Or at worst, they're a play-in team.
That's right. Hey, listen, I don't know. You might be upsetting WeezyD313 in the chat a little bit. I guess he's a little upset that I don't believe that the Wizards in this move is going to put them anywhere close to where the Pistons are. He says, and he just starts listing some of the players: McCollum, Middleton, Smart, with Sarr, blah, 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 Kispert, Carrington, Stay Woke Kool-Aid.
Is he trying to convince us that New Orleans is going to be good?
Washington.
Or Washington, sorry. Washington's going to be good?
I didn't even say that they're not going to be a team that can be a playing team. I said that they're just not going to be a team that you think is on par with the Detroit Pistons.
They're not. Let's confidently say that. That's not even. We don't even have to be reserved about that. They will not.
Yeah, they might reach 500.
They might.
Go ahead, Terry. I know you.
500 3-pointers attempted. Like what? What is 500?
It's the lottery, man. No, my question now is irrelevant. So I guess I hit you from this standpoint. Trajan Langdon basically said the Pistons are not going to do anything crazy. They're not going to make a big splash, and it seems like you think that's the wrong move, or do you?
I'm leaning more. What I said earlier is I'm leaning more toward if something comes to your doorstep, you can consider it differently than you did last week. So if there's a Desmond Bane type of deal, then you would consider it. Last week I would have said no, don't worry about it. Play the long game, build this and try to do it for the long term. But for the East, is Cleveland a team that is just invincible? And maybe what we thought the Celtics were at the beginning of last year. Is Cleveland that team right now? No. No? Orlando?
You got to throw in two things: soft and injury prone.
Yep.
Cavaliers are soft, bro. They're talented.
Yeah, and so if you look at Donovan Mitchell as their keystone piece, and yeah, there's they got the big man, but they're not a proven team that is going to be a buzzsaw that you just cannot get through. I don't think that they're at that level. And if the Pistons go and get any of the guys that we talked about, and I'll say, let's throw this out there, kicks and giggles. If they go get Zion, can they get with Cleveland?
No.
I didn't even want to say Zion.
Yes.
Because Terry, that is the one player I do not want them to go and get is Zion. Right. I think there's too much risk. But let's say they did. Are they and Zion is healthy? Same thing we said about Kristaps. If Zion is healthy and he's everything they think they could be, are the Pistons on par with Cleveland? You can convince me. I can have that conversation.
For 30 games.
Are 15 of those in the playoffs?
Gonna last.
15 of those in the playoffs, right?
15 in the playoffs. I mean, maybe. You never know.
Can you redshirt him during the regular season and just play him in the playoffs?
Hey, it is going to be load management like a mug all season. Hey, first game, season opener. Bro, he plays in the season opener. Doesn't play again until December.
Here's where the load management is. In his ass. That's why I don't want to bring him here. There's some load management there.
It would, yeah. But again, that is the issue, and it's a similar thing with Porzingis, which is why you don't. it would have to be somebody who is like a Bobby Portis or a Naz Reid or people that we've talked about in recent weeks who can come in and give you something immediately and you don't have those health questions about. But you need a higher tier player than any of those guys too. Zion, if he's right, 20 plus points, 10-ish rebounds, he can play the 4 alongside Duren. There's no real conflict in the positions that they're playing. It's a good fit position wise, but for the money that you're paying Zion and the risk that you're taking, not for me. Not for me.
Hey, this is actually a question from the chat. Ryan's reaction with the super chat. Thank you. And you alluded to it for a second, just a minute ago. Rod, we should focus on acquiring Miles Turner or Bobby Portis, right?
Miles Turner, no. No, he can never play on my team until he puts the Legos down. Never. No. Bobby Portis, yes. Bobby Portis, we can have Bobby Portis or Naz Reid. We cannot have Miles Turner. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
But you know what? It's interesting. Some of these names that we've been talking about, those are still some of the names that are available. And the Detroit Pistons are one of the teams that are primed to be able to take them. Think about this right now, you guys. How many teams out of all these deals that are going down, and we saw some squads take themselves out of the ability to do really much more to compete with what the Pistons have. The Pistons are just one of those teams sitting around like, okay, now it's our time. Who else now is ready to get underneath the second apron? Who else has a star or a disgruntled star or just about a star, someone who's looking to get paid in the next year that you're looking to move off of? And now I believe that Trajan Langdon has everything at his disposal. With what we see happening in the East, I think it just made things so much better for him and gave him that many more opportunities and options. So I want to get into the next segment, take a quick one real quick, get into the next one. We'll hear some from Trajan Langdon. Got a couple quotes that we're going to go through, a couple videos, and then we got some Swisher break. I also pulled a couple from the chat, too, that I'm going to send to you, JB Smooth. So
okay.
We got some because we got to get into some nitty-gritty type stuff, and I got to get, what's life without a Swisher break, right? But what friends we got to say what up, though? Who we saying hi to? How many? Is it another triple?
Just double. Vin Johnson and White Claw.
Vin Johnson, you guys already know if it's about justice that you seek, then it's Vin Johnson Law. And I can tell you this, at the time they've been a sponsor with us and being even able to meet some of their correspondents, some of their representatives over at the Grand Prix, they're just great people. And who do you want representing you better than them? Vin Johnson Law. They know justice. And as far as I can see, they know people. And I also got to tell you guys about White Claw Tigers Tour. You guys have been hearing about this. 4 bars in Detroit, and I'm hoping that we expand this. I really hope we expand this. The first 2 were already pretty dope, really dope. McShane's and the Legend T-Fall showed up to Nemo's, and now we got the 3rd one where the whole crew, a bunch of the crew, Sunday night, June 29th, 3rd stop on the tour is at Old Miami in Detroit. So we want you guys to be part of the fun and to see our reactions live on Woodward Sports Network to one of the hottest teams in baseball, and let's just call it what it is, the best team in baseball. It's the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and Vin Johnson Law.
Tired of losing out on the car of your dreams? Bad credit? No credit? At the Feldman Chevrolet Freedom Sale, we say yes. Over 5,000 new Chevys to choose from, all priced to move with our best deals of the year. Get a 2025 Silverado for just $149 a month, or this 2026 Equinox for only $209 a month. When other dealers say no, Feldman Chevrolet says yes. Don't miss the Freedom Sale, going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
Caesars Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Scan that QR code on screen. Use code word Woodward1000. You can deposit up to $1,000, but all you have to do is place a minimum of a $20 bet. And if it doesn't hit, Caesars will throw it right back into your account to double down on again tonight. Scan that QR code, use code word Woodward1000, and make some money tonight.
Make some money. It's NBA draft day. It's Woodward Pistons Wednesday. It's so appropriate that it aligns this way. And we get to celebrate the fact that, you know what, T-Foss? I think tonight or tomorrow, I believe we might do the draft show tomorrow since the Pistons do pick in the second round. And tonight I'll go down and deal with the Pistons at their watch party for the draft tonight. So I don't think that you have to worry about us messing up the studio this year. I know in the past you talked about how crazy things got when we won the draft, the lottery, when we picked Kay Cunningham and all of that.
Oh, yeah, you have the naked women running through the studio and all that kind of stuff.
Where was that?
But I guess tonight there's no first round pick. What is there to watch?
That's why I said we're gonna do that tomorrow, and it gives us opportunity as well because I'm reaching out to some special guests to see if we can get some special guests on for tomorrow's stream. So that'd be dope. But I know NHL draft, and we might have a special Woodward Wings stream after the draft show tomorrow, and then Friday we got Woodward Wings are gonna do their NHL draft show. So it's a pretty cool week of extra content for you guys. We're going to try and make sure that we bring you all the best coverage that we can. So thank you guys for supporting. Continue to hit that like button. We get the legend on Rob Beard with the other legend, T-Foss, doing our Woodward Pistons segment. And Trajan Langdon gave his pre-draft press conference. I'm wondering if he's going to give one after the first round tonight if they don't do anything. Generally, they wait until a move is made. And so that might be tomorrow night when we get the Trajan Langdon post-draft press conference and get a little bit more insight into what their offseason plans are going to be. But let's get the legend Rob Beard back in here. And JB, we'll start with those screenshots because those are the most telling things. That's what everybody wants to know about. And guys, at pick number 37, he let us in a little bit to his strategy. And this was the picture from the press conference yesterday. Shout out to Trajan Langdon. Shout out to Pistons and Pistons PR. They always take care of their media well. And he said, no surprise here, best player available, period. Best player available.
I'll be honest, if I'm Trajan Langdon, I have nothing to say to y'all tonight.
Nothing at all?
I talked to you a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I haven't made a draft pick. I got nothing to say. So you talk to me tomorrow.
Look, I feel that. And shout out to intern Noah, who just walked in a little bit ago, and he went to the press conference with me. He's a good writer, and I can't wait to see what he writes from this. And I got a couple articles as well. It was a fun time there. But I told him about Rod and I basically decoding Troy Weaver, and I went into the press conference pre-draft. Was like, so, we're looking at things. We've been listening to everything you're saying, and we think there's a great possibility that you're going to trade up, man. How's it looking? There's some play. And he just looked around for a minute and was like, do y'all got my office bugged? And then what do you know? What do you happen? We called it. Marcus Sasser. He traded back into the first round and got Marcus Sasser. And so I did notice a Trajan Langdon who he walked in and said it right away. Hey, look, guys, I'm going to be boring. I'm not blowing the cover off of anything. And so a lot of the answers you could tell were vanilla, but you could tell that he has a shorthand on what he's going to accomplish here. And I do believe a lot of that has to do with running things back. Let's get that next one up because there's not going to be too many surprises at pick number 37 as it relates to what their strategy is. This one is the other aspect of it. For free agency, the Detroit Pistons will not, with a capital NOT, be super aggressive this offseason. And I wonder what that means in contrast to just being aggressive. Because he did leave this door open. He said if there's a deal that presents itself like the Desmond Bane deal, he will do that as long as it doesn't hamper the Detroit Pistons. Another tidbit he mentioned as it relates to free agency. They got their own free agents that they want to bring back. And they said that they want to, but he said this agents are tough and they have a job to do as well. He said that they did, let their intentions be known. But this was something that came across the waiver wire. And the Kings are considering one of the Detroit Pistons. They're considered the leading suitor for one of the Detroit Pistons free agents. Do you guys know who that is? Anybody know? One Mr. Dennis Schroeder. Yeah. And so they're expected to be really kind of aggressive. Like at the start of free agency, they're supposed to be one of those teams that's like, hey, we really, 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 really want you. And I absolutely hate hearing that. I do. I'm hoping that Trajan Langdon, for whatever plan he has, he can put things in motion. But I'm not lost on it. If Dennis Schroeder is somebody that is on the way out, Trajan Langdon has proved in his camp, to be able to find these types of deals, and it didn't cost him much at all. But Rod, just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Are we still in the same spot about let's rank Beasley and Schroeder? Are we still in the same spot on the ranking of those three and who you would rather have back?
As time is
Hardaway,
Beasley.
Schroeder, and Beasley.
As time has gone on, Beasley has been the one that's just crept right back up to the top of that list for me. Schroeder, he held that emotionally for his playoff performance for some time and his connection with Cade, and I want him on this squad. But I saw Keith Langlois' article too, Pistons.com writer, and he stated that Malik Beasley is a priority this offseason. I think it's Beasley for me, man.
For me, it's Schroeder. If I can only keep one of those dudes, it's Schroeder. Because A, he's a man. B, he's got balls. 3, he's not scared. He got no fear in him.
Because I want to say that Beasley's not. Because all regular season, we saw a guy that was exactly what you just described. But when the playoffs happened, we didn't get what we needed. And if we just got marginal,
and doesn't that happen
Beasley
every year with him?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! But
okay,
you're talking about the course of a season. Can they replace that 3-point shooting at that price?
All right, I'll put it this way. If I come in with a rash on my leg and I had it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it's going to be there Thursday. Beasley doesn't shoot well in the playoffs.
I know.
And this happens every year.
But that's what had Schroeder at the top of my list
and he should still be there.
I still want him
No,
back.
I
still want him back. But for the sake of regular season, I do believe Beasley matters.
Baby boy, pick one. Pick one. I'm not going to let you get, I could bring all three back. No, pick one.
So Terry, I'm gonna let him off the hook.
Don't let him off the hook. Bury the hook.
No, but he's still gonna have to choose.
Okay, all right,
he's still gonna have to choose because you're probably gonna be able to keep 2 of those 3, but those 2 cannot be Schroeder and Beasley.
I don't think
so. It's Hardaway and one of the other 2 is my guess at this.
Rod, just do it.
So in effect, you are choosing between Schroeder and Beasley, and I think if you can keep Hardaway, then the answer is Schroeder. That's the right answer.
Let's not lead the jury. Let's see what he has to say.
I think it's.
I'm leading him to the right answer.
You can't go for an hour. Tell us.
No, because I'm sitting here thinking like, who's the guard? Who's the guard? Who's the guard? I can't think of a guard that we're going out and getting who I believe is going to have the same effect that Schroeder can. Can we replace what Beasley brings to the table? We can to a degree, I guess, but he was prolific in the regular season. Prolific. And I do believe that matters. Is this Pistons team still the same team? Mind you, Beasley was here for the entire regular season. Are they the same team regular season without him? I think Cade needs that floor spacing. I remember Bojan and Alec Burke days. I remember Jeremy Grant days. I do appreciate the elite, because we cannot forget that. In the regular season, he is absolutely one of the elites from beyond the arc at high volume.
Rod, we should do a show with Kool-Aid. You and me will be spitting, and he'll be going, ooh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Look, Beasley is at the top of it for me, brother.
He hasn't answered the question yet.
Beasley still. Beasley.
But here's the thing.
I like a lot of everything that Schroeder does, but Beasley he was elite in the regular season. We can't look past that.
All we can go on is what we saw throughout the regular season and the playoffs. Can you make it? You can get to the playoffs with what happened in the regular season. But if the goal is to advance and to do better than you did this year, you need that playoff ability. We saw that from Schroeder. We didn't quite see it as much from Beasley. And right. Yes, you cannot substitute that 3-point shooting throughout the length of the season. But the defense, and again, you're talking about in the playoffs, you're probably defending the Cavs guards. You're probably defending the Knicks guards and specifically Brunson. Who's the better defender at the end of the day? You're not going to go and find a lockdown defender out in free agency, and you would have to trade for a Desmond Bane and give up a lot in order to get that. 3-point shooting, anybody can get on sort of a hot streak, and you can figure that out. But I think it's harder to find that defender than it is the good 3-point shooter, and you can get some of that. The defense is there or it's not. The 3-point shooting guys can just get on a heater and get to that point. They're not going to get on a heater defensively.
I believe I'm scarred from them trying to find that outside shooting for so long and failing so miserably to build that around Cade that they finally got that guy. And so it's not something I'm like, you know what, I'm just easy to let go of. It was interesting, though, to hear that as the Kings are looking at Dennis Schroeder, there's another player whose name entered the rumor mill, and that is a Malik Monk. If you can get your hands on a player like a Malik Monk, who is locked in on his contract right now at $19 million, I would do that one. That would be enough for me to say, you know what, you got to go out and make sure you retain Schroeder on that probably taxpayer exception. That's like $14.1 million. I think that they're looking at like maybe $16 million a year from the Kings to Schroeder. But maybe if you could offer your taxpayers exception, you can also do something that brings in a Malik Monk. But who knows? I don't know if necessarily the Kings are like, oh, crap, you got Malik Monk and you're trying to re-sign Schroeder. Who knows how that works out for them? But if you can go out there and get some floor spacers, not just the heater guy. I mean, like, we know Cade has that reliable floor spacing. It does make, in my opinion, obviously, Schroeder that guy. But with how prolific I saw Beasley be last year, that's something that is very difficult to just turn my head past. Like, yeah, that was okay.
Here's the thing that scares me. It wasn't like the Knicks said, let's do something wacky defensively to stop Beasley. They just let him play his regular game, and he was bricking shots. That's what scares me.
Man, you're right. Schroeder was so
and is the Beasley season an anomaly? That's my question, because 3-point shooting comes and goes. You can shoot 45% one year and come back the next year and shoot 39, and that's a steep drop, but 39 isn't bad from three.
No, brother.
The playoffs are still in people's minds.
It comes in January for this dude. It goes in March and April for this dude. That's my problem.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the point. That defense doesn't lead. If you're a good defender, you're a good defender. And so you can throw aside the Asar stuff and guarding Brunson and the one play is going to be a highlight forever. But is Asar still a good defender? Yeah, no matter what. But 3-point shooting from one year to the next can just be so finicky. That's the part that I wouldn't say that is who Malik Beasley is and is going to be for the rest of his career. He's been a good 3-point shooter. This might be the outlier of years that he was just a great 3-point shooter for the Pistons.
Man, you know what? If I'm thinking 3-year contract for one of these guys, you believe that Schroeder can probably keep this up for the next 3 years versus what maybe Beasley can do as an elite shooter in this league? I don't believe he's going to regress. But there is still a whole lot to like about Dennis Schroeder, which makes this tough. That's what I said a couple weeks ago. This was a question that I answered Dennis Schroeder. A couple weeks later, it's an answer where I'm looking at Beasley as deals are being made. I'm looking at, can they find themselves avoiding the death trap that they were in before they got Beasley? And that was effectively no gravity, no space for Cade Cunningham. And when he's throwing it out there are no shooters out there for him. But Dante151 $4.99 super chat. He agrees with you, Rod Beard. He says, I would rather have Schroeder instead of Beasley. With what Schroeder could do with helping Ivy improve as a point guard is ahead of what Beasley can do. And I'm seeing a lot of sentiment in the chat where, you know what have you done for me lately? What's the last thing on people's minds? Those playoffs do ring true. And you got to think about it. If the Pistons are a surefire playoff team, I think that's where people's minds are going to instantly go. That's what makes it so tough for me. The playoffs did a lot for Schroeder in my mind. And it did take Beasley down just a few pegs. But I don't know. I have nightmares, man. I wake up in cold sweats thinking about Cade Cunningham driving the lane, passing it out to the corner, and Stewart shooting 7 threes in the first quarter.
You know what, Rodney? We failed as communicators. It took him 25 minutes to answer our question.
But here's the last thing. Cade protector or Cade helper? Schroeder is a Cade protector because he takes some of the pressure off Cade, it lets him rest, and it gives you another ball handler. Cade helper is what you're just trying to do in general with the roster. Yeah. And Beasley is a Cade helper. You can go get another 3-point shooter. May not be as good, probably won't be as good as Beasley is. But Schroeder, for the next couple of years, would help Cade. It takes him off the ball, gives him some rest, and you can play Schroeder at the point and not have to worry about that. And then you don't have to put Jaden Ivey in that position where he's constantly ball handling and go through that experiment all over again. I don't want to see that. I want to see him playing off the ball.
Because Cade Ivey Schroeder lineups actually would be crazy to me. That actually would be pretty dope. But I want to save a little time. Let's get to a couple of the videos. We can play them back to back from Trajan Langdon.
Okay.
And then I got a couple Swisher Big questions if you have the time, Rod.
Yep.
Let's rock.
AT's been working his butt off too. He's been here. He's been back home. He's been in the gym. The thing that he wants to do at some point is be Defensive Player of the Year. So working on his strength that he didn't get to do last year, getting in better shape, working on his different abilities to get shots, to create shots, putting him in pick and roll. But I think AT has got an ability in different places on the floor to be able to just create a shot. So that's what we're really trying to work with him on this summer, the ball handling, the shot creation, and then just getting stronger. Is one thing that he couldn't do all last summer because of the restrictions. So having him in the weight room, movement efficiency, so when he is getting in those situations, he can be a little bit more on balance in terms of getting a shot or finishing at the rim. But he's excited. We're excited for him to have an entire summer to develop, not only on the floor but also in the weight room. Yeah, I thought the playoffs were a lot of fun. I think us being in the first round gave our guys incredible experience and a great feel for what it actually entails to compete at that level and against a really good Knicks team that we got a chance to play 6 games against. And then watching the finals and the lead up to the finals, I thought it was some spectacular basketball on both sides. I think it shows that you need depth is important in this style of play. The game's getting faster, it's getting bigger. There's so many players on the court that have skill. So those are the things that were apparent, but the whole league is seeing that. And I think we have some players that fit that on our roster right now. And I think they showed that in the first round of the series against the Knicks. So continuing to improve and develop our young players, I think, is going to be paramount for us going forward, and continuing to add pieces around that fit and can enhance their development.
Trajan Langdon just wrapped up his press conference, and these are some of the tidbits if you don't want to have to go back and rewatch the whole thing. Pick number 37, best player available. The outlook as it relates to free agency for this team. He says he sees what Orlando did, like with the Bain trade, and if something like that materializes, absolutely will be in the middle of it. It just makes sense, right? He also gave some updates as it relates to Jaden Ivey and Isaiah Stewart. He did say that Isaiah Stewart is going to be ready for camp, and he's looking forward to seeing what Jaden Ivey can be. Largely, I get a belief that Trajan Langdon does believe in this team, in this core. And as it relates to their own impending free agents, said the attempt is to bring them back. They contributed to great success, historic success, from 14 wins to 44. They're the first team to go from 14 to the playoffs as well. So Trajan Langdon likes what he saw, believes in the internal growth, and thinks that the young guys here still have another level to go. It's going to be interesting to see. But let me know, who's your pick at number 37 for the Detroit Pistons, and do you want to see them trade up? If so, for who? Again, Brandon Dent, Detroit Kool-Aid, Woodward Sports, live from the Henry Ford Pistons Performance Center.
Trust your next vehicle purchase to Les Stanford, 50-plus years of success.
Hey, and we're back. Just wanted to be able to give you guys a little bit of what Trajan Langdon was talking about. There's some things there. I think the aspect of Asar Thompson in playoffs, I am really looking forward to what he's going to be next year. And when I heard him talk about them developing and working on the shot creation, that gets me ecstatic about who Asar Thompson could be as a player. Because I'm going to continue to say it. I believe he's a guy that is stepping towards stardom, Ron.
Yeah, he could be that. And you hang your hat defensively and you work your way into being an offensive piece that can contribute. So I think the future is still bright there, but there's still time for him. You don't need him to be that immediately.
And the first 2 questions, effectively, Trajan Langdon answered one of them. They're looking to definitely maintain, and where they can, they're going to definitely punch to try and get ahead. And the first question I had, we already talked about, and that's Malik Beasley should be a Pistons free agent priority. So I'm going to start with number 3 here. because this is as it relates to free agency. The Pistons. Are you ready? Let's start with that graphic, Mr. JB Smooth. Get the people what they want. Swish or break? Swish or break? You guys already know
Break.
it. We make a statement. You guys have to say if it's a swish or a break, and if we have time, we got a few that we pulled from the chat as well. But the Pistons, they need to go all in for one of these players. Which one is the swish? Zion Williamson, Domantas Sabonis, or Lauri Markkanen? That's why I led with Zion.
If I have to choose one,
which one's the swish for you?
Lauri Markkanen. Just his ability to shoot, I think, sets him apart from the other two. Been largely available, been stuck in some bad situations. I think that makes him a little underrated in NBA circles. Give me Lauri Markkanen if I had to choose between those three.
What up, though, JB Smooth?
Well, I know for Rip, I'm not going with Zion, so give me Lauri Markkanen once again. I'm going to side with Flannel on this one. I just think he needs to be put in a better situation. I think Detroit would be that perfect situation.
T-Foss?
I'm a Sabonis guy.
Sabonis?
Yeah.
I like the grit.
I think he's a little bit tougher, got a little bit more of
Yeah.
that nastiness to him. So I'm going to go Sabonis. I think Markkanen might come here and be a little bit of a worm boy. And Kool-Aid, I want you to notice something that we did. It didn't take us 25, 30 minutes to answer the question. We got right to it. It wasn't
You know, I'm trying to be like you seasoned professionals, man.
Okay.
Shout out to Cavassier Chase in the sound booth. What up, though, brother?
Yeah, Domantas Sabonis is the name I like the most from the list. We've talked about him before.
Yeah. So Sabonis, if I'm going to answer, it's actually Sabonis for me, too. I like Lauri Markkanen a lot, and I keep thinking about the fit between him and Cade, but I think about the triple-double effect. You know, just the threat that he could be alongside of Cade Cunningham, a guy who you know can handle a large usage responsibility from a different position on the floor. I actually like that a lot. And you're right, T-Foss, the grit, the grind, I love it. I see Varys, he says Sabonis is the best of the group. I've seen some Lauri love as well. Ryan's reaction says probably Lauri, to be honest. But T-Foss, Rob Beard, what say you?
I'm looking at Sabonis's numbers: 43 mil next year, 46, and then 49. Those are some numbers, man. I like Sabonis. I think he. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Markkanen's about the same anyway, and he's another year. He's 53 and a half in 28, 29. Yeah, give me Sabonis. Give me Sabonis in that. The numbers suggest it, but the salary just puts it over the top for me.
Ah, man, that was a good pull by you, Rod. That was a good one. And hey, as we go on to the next question here, let me see. Oh, one of it's another free agency thing. One of either Naz Reid, Julius Randle, or Bobby Portis needs to be a Detroit Piston. Which one is the swish?
God darn it.
Yeah, it's a
I'll
tough
go.
one.
I'll go Bobby Portis because I like his ability to shoot the three more than the other two, and I think he's going to be the cheapest. Although I kind of like all of those guys, but give me Bobby Portis of the three.
I like all of them. Everybody is telling me, because I asked some people, what do you think about Julius Randle? And they definitely don't want another guy who can be associated with underperforming in the playoffs. But
he was good, though, in the first couple rounds. He really stepped up, but he had some moments. But, yeah, he's
like
definitely
the history
associated
that follows
with it. Yeah.
is like, eesh. But I'm
Bad in the
actually
conference
I'm not as turned away from Julius Randle. But, JB Smooth, what about you, brother? What's the switch for you? Who needs to be on this team by next year?
You said Naz Reid,
Julius Randle, or Bobby Portis?
I think I'm out on Julius Randle. Bobby Portis would be the cheapest, but I think I'm going to lean towards Naz Reid on this one.
Ooh, talk to me about that one. Hold on, I want to know a little bit more.
I just lean. Look,
the higher ceiling?
Higher ceiling, even though Bobby Portis is probably cheaper. You want to save a little bit of money here, especially if you're trying to go after Lauri Markkanen as well. But still, I just like the ceiling that Naz Reid has versus a Bobby Portis and a Julius Randle. Like flashy, but I'm not in on it.
What about you, T-Foss?
I'm not in love with Bobby Portis.
Wow.
I'm not. Serious.
I think a lot of people here, they want punch you in the face, Bobby Portis.
Y'all love
Bobby Portis. Is he going to do that is the question.
But I would pick him reluctantly. Not in love. I think there's a clown factor with him. So I don't want to deal with it. But I will. over those other guys.
What up, though, Cavassier?
I'd rather have Naz Reid.
Naz Reid?
Yeah.
I've been going back and forth with this, and because I like Bobby Portis. I've seen this guy, no matter if his teams are good, still terrorize the Pistons. But I keep remembering I have to take my head out of the scope of our little petri dish. And when I do that, Naz Reid is a ceiling raiser for the Pistons. But, man, what say ye, Rod Beard? I'm seeing a lot of Naz Reid
started
love
with Bobby
in the chat.
Portis. I started with Bobby Portis when we started these discussions. I'm sticking with Bobby Portis. I think he's the most attainable of the three. And I don't. There's so many question marks about Julius Randle and the fit, and that he's been bounced around a couple of years. That says something too. Yeah, I think it's Portis.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? Let's get to the next one. I'm seeing. Let me see here. The ski mask, Bobby the Portis. Come on, man. Daytwa says Reed and Portis. There's some Portis love that's entering the chat right now. So
we do see some Julius Randle though, and just to like fact check a little bit before we move on.
Yeah.
Julius Randle actually did have the best playoffs of his career by far. However, Game 2 and Game 4 of the conference finals was a combined 3 of 18 with 11 total points when the Timberwolves absolutely had to have it. That's doo-dooing down your leg at the highest degree. So definitely didn't
doo-dooing down your leg.
He still has some allegations, that's for sure.
And JB, I just threw a couple of the fan ones in there, man.
All right,
but while we do that, this has some implications of something we were talking about a little bit earlier. And it's just this right now, as currently constructed, and we know that the Pistons and all these other teams can do some things to change this. The Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks, as currently constructed, are better than the Detroit Pistons. Go to you, Flam Sam. After the corresponding moves.
Brick, but I think the Magic are better right now, not the Hawks. I really like Desmond Bane on this team if the core of Suggs, Wagner, and Boncaro can stay healthy.
Oh, they're going to be tough defensively.
Yeah.
Golly, they're going to be tough defensively. JB Smooth, what say you?
What was it one more time? Sorry,
Orlando
man.
Magic, Atlanta Hawks, currently, after their moves, currently they're better than Detroit Pistons as constructed.
Give me a brick on this one, but I'm intrigued with the Magics.
Wow.
I will say that.
T. Foss, the Magic got people shook. What say you?
The Magic is slightly better, and Atlanta might be better on a random Tuesday night in Atlanta. Other than that, no.
Tuesday night in Atlanta.
In Atlanta. In Atlanta.
In Atlanta. Right.
In Atlanta.
Right.
Cavassier, what up, though?
Switch to the Magic, brick to the Hawks.
Yeah, but I'm seeing the chat. They're feeling the same ways. Mitten May. Magic, yes. Hawks, no. Cube, 22100. Yes to Orlando. Not to Atlanta. This is interesting. Weezy 3-3. Hawks better than Orlando.
Well, he's higher on Trae Young than most of us are.
Yeah, he's another one of those good player, but he's still trash.
He's also very, very inefficient for my liking, but he's a good player. He's not trash.
Rod, now that you're closer to the situation, what's up with Trae Young's hair?
I see.
I got nothing. I can't defend.
Hold on, dog.
I can't defend it. I can't defend that.
I was like, I saw his wheel spinning, and it was just like, do.
It's not as bad as Tom Thibodeau's hair.
What hair?
I actually think it's as bad as Thibodeau's hair, but they're both not good. But
well, Rob, what say you? Obviously, this one has implications to you as now you're covering Atlanta Hawks as well.
Hawks still not there. They have to prove it on the court, not on a Tuesday in Atlanta. They've got to do it everywhere else. So, yeah, I think the Magic are appreciably better and more in that contender range. Hawks are still going to have to do some more.
Hey, dope. And you know what, JB Smooth? Pick one from the fans, from the chat family. Pick a good one and read it off to us, and we'll definitely get that sweatshirt break thrown around before we release Rod Beard from this hostage situation.
All right, I got one. Seeing that it is draft night, shout out to Gromit 0237. Draft picks don't mean nothing. Trade them all. Swisher brick.
You know what? Because the Pistons not have the opportunity.
Wait a minute. Is that me in the chat there?
That's Steve Foss. That's your burner.
Right.
You're Gromit. So here you guys go. Put a face to the name. Shout out to T-False Gromit. But the Pistons finally have their war chest. And by that, we mean their draft picks. They can trade 4 draft picks, man. It's a part of a deal. And they have a whole bunch of second-round picks. A whole bunch of them. It's like 13 over the next, I don't know, however many years. Like 5, 6, 7 years. Detroit Pistons, they can do some things in the draft. Are you looking forward to them trading all these things away to effectively go and play in free agency? Because we talked about who you all in on. Are you giving those up for Laurie? Are you giving those up for one of these players out here?
I'll tell you what, me and Gromit don't agree on much, but for this one, I'll go swish philosophically.
Taking over the
because you weren't very specific, but philosophically, I'm not married to the draft picks right now with where the Pistons are at on the their exit on the highway, so to speak.
JB Smooth.
Man, fuck them picks. Trade everything you can. Get me a superstar here to help Cade out as well.
T-Foss?
With all these second-round picks, the Pistons are going to be a dominant team in the G League.
Oh.
That's the way I look at it.
You punting them? You F them picks, man? What up, though?
What's the question?
Let me go back to the it was effectively F them picks, man. Trade all of the picks that you can to go out there and get you a star. They can trade all their picks now that their first-round pick this year has finally conveyed.
Depends on who the star is.
Just go out there and get it.
You know, if you keep all those second-round picks, sign me up for season tickets with the Motor City Cruise. I'm gonna be there every night.
I just see Cavassier right now. And I hear him, and I hear him saying, "Hey, you know what? Get me a star." But I also hear attached with that, and you can also have Tobias. You can also have Tobias too. So
yeah, I mean, I definitely would like them to add somebody, but I don't think just making like a move like all last offseason people were clamoring for Zach LaVine, and I did not think that was the right move for this team. And I still think like somebody of that ilk would have. I'm not a fan of Zach LaVine, but I mean a young player like someone who can play the front court more likely. That's probably what I'd like to target and focus on. Like I don't think Jaren Jackson Jr. is necessarily attainable, but if Sabonis is out there, like I think he probably isn't going to cost as much.
Picks plus Tobias gone.
Man, do we have one? We'll save those other two, man. We'll save those other two.
I think we gave Rod a headache.
Shout out to Rod. Giving us his time all the time. Man, I'm just looking at the chat. And Rod, it's been overrun with F them picks. It just isn't. Shout out to Wayne County Cato. I'm glad y'all not the guys making the decisions, I swear. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Wayne County Cato. I would rather have Trajan Langdon making the picks too.
Well, he also said earlier that Jalen Duren's going to be Hakeem Olajuwon or David Robinson, and he says that Jalen Duren is still 19.
Well,
no disrespect.
Wayne County Cato, you want me to be GM? I don't want you to be a scout. Fair is fair. Rod, any last words?
Works both ways. No, I'm sure you guys. I'm sure you guys talked about this, the ESPN trade that was floated for Giannis with Tobias, Ivy, and Stewart and 3 first-round picks. And yes. Sign me up for whatever Giannis trade you can put together. Giannis and Cade in a pick and roll? Like, what do you do with that? I don't even legitimately know what you do with a Giannis Cade pick and roll. But yeah, something like that. And Trajan Langdon can say they're not going super aggressive at all, but if you get any kind of Giannis trade that comes across your desk, if it's not Cade, then you do it. You absolutely do it. That is what puts you in that conversation right there with Cleveland and right there with OKC at that point.
You do it. You wonder how much would the Bucks do this in division, but with all those draft picks, with what the Pistons can't afford you, sometimes you just pull the trigger and know it'll get better down the road. You trying to match your windows up?
Or
what up, though?
Maybe Trajan Langdon has had some secondary conversations with the Bucks, and there's nobody on this team the Bucks want. So then he can get big and bad and say, there's nothing that we're gonna do.
Goodness.
Maybe that's what happened.
There's still so much out there for the Detroit Pistons. I'm just thinking about all the possibilities. You think about this, Rob, for the last 4 years, last 3.5 years of this. It's literally, last 4 years. It's literally been about just the draft. Who are they going to pick? We went through so many prospects. We had draft experts on. We went and got Rashad Phillips. shout out to Rashad Phillips too, man, with all the work that he does, especially during this time. And this year it's so much different because we're not talking about a team who has to draft for their now. We're talking about a team who has to literally bolster their opportunity to be one of the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference. And it feels like we got there, at least from 2 years ago to now. It feels like night and day overnight. 14 to 44, 14 to the playoffs. And now we're talking about a squad that has opportunity to shake things up in the East that got hit hard with dysfunction. The Pistons, to me, are one of those teams that look, honestly, really, really good. Even the Cavs. It's like, well, what happened to them? Well, they just don't meet expectation in the playoffs. And just as much as we talk about who Beasley is or is not in the playoffs, that's going to matter to me with the Cavs as well. So this East, to me, is one that the Pistons could take advantage of. Trajan, though, I think we do need to probably take a step back and value maybe as much as he does this team. We need to value it or at least see what he's trying to value because he does believe in these guys. One more tidbit, he does say that Isaiah Stewart and Jaden Ivey should be ready. He said will be ready for camp. So won't have to wait too much longer to see what this team is going to be about. So Summer League, July 10th through the 20th. Going to definitely have some boots on the ground to be able to check out some of these young players. So is that Woodward Pistons? That might be Woodward Sports. So Wake Up Woodward today.
Hey, yeah. that was a great one as always.
Hey, Rod, thank you as always for your time, man. We enjoyed this so much.
Appreciate you.
Bro. But to be able to come on here and talk sports, talk Detroit sports, and still be able to have Rod here, even though you're doing great things in Atlanta, it's awesome, bro. Thank you.
You're right. We got to work harder on getting this man to answer questions. We got to do that, though, man.
He answers them eventually. It's just quicker.
I know. Well, man, I don't know if
I'm
we need to.
conflicted. We haven't been here in so long. Rod, this was so easy when everything was trash. You could just say, like, you know what? Hey, I want any one of these 20 players here.
No,
I don't
dude.
want none of our guys.
Bro, we need to learn how to waterboard. That's the only way we're going to get this man to answer questions.
We're going to have to do some skits.
He'll be all right. We'll fix him. He'll be all right.
We got to see how the United States treats terrorists. That's what we got to do with Kool-Aid over here.
He just equated me to Benedict Johnson and Tyrese Halliburton. Goodness. Shout out to T-Fox.
All right.
But thank you, Rod. Thank you, as always, for your time. You guys smash that like button for the legend. And JB Smooth, what friends we got to say what up, though, too, before we get to wrapping up?
We probably got to triple up on everything. So, Lady Jane's, Loom, Feldman, and Jars.
Lady Jane's. Guys, let's be honest with, like, simple stuff like gimmies on the golf course. We like uncomplicated. Like the Detroit Pistons being a top 4 team in the East next year. Like Lady Jane's, haircuts for men. Walk in, sign in, and before you know it, you're handsome and clean. Lady Jane's open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Loom.
Enjoy Loom Cannabis Refreshing Buzzin' Favorites. They have a bunch of new flavors out, so crack a can, take a sip, and catch a buzz. There's 38 locations across Michigan. Go ahead and use code 30 WSN30 for 30% off your order, online or in store at www.loom.com. Then go buy a car at Feldman Chevrolet. There's 5 locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing. This month's specials include a 2025 Chevy Silverado for $149 a month or a 2026 Equinox for $209 a month. Then go get some more weed at Jars Cannabis, because whether you're hitting the game or just chilling, Jars has you covered. 27 locations across Michigan, 9 of them right here in Detroit, Grand Rapids, Madison Heights, Milan. They're getting new stores there soon. And go get your cannabis at jarscannabis.com today.
It's part beauty, part beast. It's for those who dare to be different, for those who want to stand out, and for those who are built for more. The all-new Ineos Grenadier combines strength and style for an unmatched driving experience. Sold exclusively at Feldman Ineos of Waterford.
Injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce. your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in the clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Oh, no ad read.
No.
Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. Hi, guys. Bye, guys. That's the show. No, it's your boy Brandon, aka Detroit Kool-Aid. We got Flannel Sam. What up, dog, T-Foss? Arsenio Hall?
Oh,
Shout out to Arsenio. You know what? I like Arsenio from Coming to America, too.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Yeah, he had a couple of those faces in there, man. Shout out to Spinny. Sheesh. Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. Spoon. Shout out to Spin Dog, man. Hey, and JB Smooth, I'm gonna keep saying it. We need, Saturday night vibes.
Saturday night vibes.
We need it. We need it, man. But Mr. Terry Foster, you're not gonna be with us on Friday, so we need you to kind of do some story time with T Foss right now.
Well, I am going to Sacramento, so I will give you a Sacramento story.
What's there to do in Sacramento?
Back in the day, people wanted to trade Isaiah Thomas for Ralph Sampson.
What?
7'4" Ralph Sampson, soft as all get out. I never liked him as a player, but everybody thought he was a superstar. So anyway, we are in a high school, the Pistons are in a high school gym in Sacramento. And there's two courts. And there's a guy in another court running back and forth going, every time he ran back and forth. You know who it was?
Was it
Ralph Sampson.
Ralph Sampson.
Ralph Sampson was trying to get back into the league. He had a tryout with Sacramento. And so the Pistons were in a really goofy mood that day. Daryl Dawkins was on the team. Rick Mahorn was on the team. Everybody's just having a good day because they're on the West Coast. They're playing well and stuff. And so then Mark Aguirre goes over to Isaiah Thomas and said, "Hey, bro, there's your replacement over there. Why don't you go say hi to him?" So everybody just cracked up. And, yeah, I mean, that was for real. Because the belief was you could not build your team around a 6'1" point guard and win a championship. And the Pistons were in championship mode, and people thought you couldn't do it with Isaiah Thomas.
Man.
So this city has turned on Grant Hill, Isaiah Thomas. Have they turned on Cade yet? No, they still believe in Cade. They still believe in him?
You said the people here?
In Ditfiddle.
What'd you say?
Here in Detroit.
I think that the majority of people do. I'm going to say that. But there is a vocal minority that gets a little loud sometimes about what they believe Cade to be, especially in the playoffs. Instead of looking at all the good things he did, obviously people focused on the turnovers. So it's interesting.
If the fans here don't turn on Cade Cunningham, that will make him the greatest Piston of all time. Because they didn't turn on him.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what? It does put things into perspective when you talk about this. Everything wasn't perfect. Obviously, we could celebrate the bad boys and their championships. I know a lot of us look back on them with just fondness, but you were there at the ground level, and you saw they took Isaiah Thomas, and there was still a lot of losing at the beginning of that. They didn't get Joe Dumars for 4 years in, and they weren't the bad boys until 8 years. Maybe they had shades of bad boys maybe 6 years in, but they weren't championship level until 8 years into that thing. And it's interesting to hear some of these stories because you look at a lot of the narrative around Cade, and it's going to be this way all the time for our guys. They're going to have to win. They're going to have to win. That's what cures everything. That's what solves everything. Even Dan Campbell, you remember even some Detroit people, they weren't necessarily sold on him. But he wins, and now everybody acts like they eat kneecap soup.
Well, I understood why they weren't behind Dan Campbell. he's coming in first press conference talking about kneecaps and all that kind of stuff. So you're thinking, oh, here we go, another dude with the Lions talking silly shit. So then I can understand why some people are like, oh, I don't know about this dude. But what they missed within that press conference, he talked about something that NFL people had told me were missing from the Lions, that you only have to worry about Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota. You beat those teams, you win your division, you make yourself a Super Bowl contender. People miss that. Oh, and the Sacramento workout, Daryl Dawkins and Rick Mahorn got into a dozens contest. And for you young people, playing the dozens means you're cracking on somebody. But what they did is they talked about each other's mamas for like a half hour.
Moms? So nothing was off limit then. Goodness.
Mom was not off limit. And so you have a whole team not only laughing, but they have tears coming out their eyes. You know, Chuck was a little pissed. He's like, we're not going to get anything done today. Everybody's cracking up. Daryl Dawkins did the knockout punch on Rick Mahorn. You know those big 33-gallon garbage bags?
Yeah.
He held up a 33-gallon garbage bag for like 5 minutes and kept looking and staring at it. He says, what is this? What is this? I can't figure out what this is. Oh, I know what it is. It's Rick Mahorn's mama's diaper. And everybody cracked up.
Hey, Rick Mahorn?
No, that was Daryl Dawkins did that to Rick Mahorn.
Jeez. Dad with Tourette's, your mama was an astronaut. I remember that one.
Oh, you should, the way he was looking at it, he said, what is this?
I completed the freaking joke in my own mind, dog. Shout out to Dad with Tourette's. That's an old one. I like that one. Mm-hmm. But she's story time with T. Foss.
Mama's the sacred, but man, they cut it up.
That's wild, man. That is wild. Chocolate Thunder from Greg in the chat, man. And you know what? This has been fun. This show has been fun. What about you, Mr. Flannel Sam?
It's been fun, but T. Foss, you did allude to something earlier. I think, and this could get into a whole topic, and I'm not trying to do that, but I think the way that Pistons fans turned on Grant Hill was reprehensible, in my opinion. It was because of some dumb shit. With all due respect to a Detroit sports fans, sometimes that like seeps in, and I don't like it.
No, I thought the organization felt Grant Hill more than Grant Hill felt the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had long conversations about that too. You know what he didn't like? He would talk to someone in the organization in confidence, and then it was in the paper like 2 or 3 days later. That's tough. There was always leaks, and he messed that. And the Detroit fans said Grant Hill was soft.
That's just not true.
I remember
he
that.
He destroyed his ankles for the team.
Offensively, he was tough.
His
Offensively,
game
was tough.
Penetrating the lane, getting his ass knocked down, and making a bucket. How's that soft?
It's not soft.
He doesn't have aura.
That's true. No, he had a lot of aura. Just in Detroit, for some reason, as if he didn't have it. I see Spitty over there.
Well, he played the piano when his dad was a NFL football player. He wasn't Isaiah. That was his biggest crime, was he wasn't Isaiah.
And the other thing, if you black, you got to be from the hood. You got to be, splitting your verbs. You got to be, I'm saying. He wasn't that. And in fact, his people had him wear 3-piece suits, what he hated. He hated wearing
No, man, my pops did the same thing. And you know where my dad was from? He's from Detroit. He's from Glendale. Mm-hmm. I saw that. I saw Glendale change. There was a time where you didn't have a problem with your alley. I saw that thing change into a place where when we were with grandma and grandpa, people shooting themselves up in the alley, with needles and things like that. Like as a young kid, saw it change. And my pops, he said, listen, I want something as it relates to your environment a little bit different until the parts of Detroit we can afford to be in can offer you that. And so my dad, he went out of his way to make sure, hey, listen, have this culture, wear these types of clothes, do these things, and even if you don't like it, just at least understand how to do it because it's the way the world ticks. So I actually did when Grant Hill came out. I remember a lot of the stuff that was being said about him. You got to understand with my cousins, friends, and family and people who are in Detroit versus now all of a sudden we're moving out to the suburbs at the age of 8. There was a lot of that same type of rhetoric and noise. I went to grade school in Inkster for a long time and then over to Romulus. talked a little bit different than some of the people there. So Grant Hill, for me, first shoes, first jersey, and he was absolutely an icon. Then came here and proved that he was tough.
Wait. You
ready
wore
to
the
square
heels?
up with-
You wore the heels?
I wore them. I had them.
You
bro.
know what? I have newfound respect for you. You are a tough guy. Because those shoes hurt your feet so bad. I don't know how you can play ball in them.
You know what? I didn't play ball in those, actually. They were big.
Okay.
They were clunky. I was young, and I was like,
Oh, you just
this
wore it
ain't
for the
it.
look. That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was Grant Hill. We never had – I had never seen a player take over the national scene like that. When you talk about what media will or won't do for Riley Green, they definitely did that for Grant Hill. He was over everything. If you owned McDonald's and Sprite, you owned the world back then. That was it. Like, and to see our guy step into that, and he got his own shoe. And then he also was like leading vote getter as a rookie. Then got rookie of the year. They made him share it with Jason Kidd. I remember it like yesterday, and that's still a travesty. But whatever.
Should not have been shared.
Should not have been shared.
If it Woodward
Dog, I
Sports
love
was
Grant
there,
Hill,
all
bro.
y'all would have been going nuts.
Goodness gracious. Come on, T-Foss. I have 5 periods of the $15 Starberries. I had Starberries and Shacks. I did support those.
Oh, the Starberries.
My dad
What
had
those
this at
the
Payless
shoes
and
you can
Walmart
get for
frequently.
$9?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At, I
like
forget
them.
the name of the place, but you can get them for $9.99.
Steven Berries.
I used to post mine on my Detroit Kool-Aid, and then Starberry followed me, man. So shout out to Stephon Marbury.
Okay. At least you didn't get shot over that shoe. I'll give you that.
No, look, I wore whatever shoes. To play ball, though, man, as soon as them Huarache 2K4s came out, the Kobe's, goodness gracious, that was it. That was the only shoe I could hoop in for a long
All right,
time.
forget the style, forget the look. What was the best shoe to play in?
The Huarache 2K4s.
Okay.
Those, just period.
So
Go
you
and look those
busted
up if you don't
25
know.
points every time you put those on.
Those were the ones. Those
Okay.
were the ones. Like the first dunk I had was in those.
T-Max.
Like, yeah, those were the ones, man. Gosh, I love those. What about you, Flannel?
I mean, I'm not a baller, so just like whatever I could find. Played the youth basketball, wasn't very good. Again, I'll say it before and I said it again. One of the worst athletes at the network is this guy. And that's okay. I embrace it.
They think that you like the chair, T-Foss. They think that you like the chair and that you're probably just going to stay there.
I'm just lost. I should have wore a gold shirt so you couldn't see me.
But, hey, shout out to Greg. I see you in the chat. He says, great show. Sam, Kool-Aid, Justin, Chase, JB, and everyone else I may have missed. We got intern Noah, intern Ryan. A couple of the other interns showed up, and we do. Let's break this thing down. We'll get the chest pass going. We'll get through the breakdown. But in the sound booth, we got Cavassier Chase decked out in the racing gear. What up, though?
Hey, what's up? Hope you guys have a good day. Fast and Loose is up for you guys to check out or don't. You know, it's up to you, but check it out. Check out No Chill's podcast as well. If you don't watch No Chill, I don't like you.
What was Sports MVP in the TD booth? What up, though, JB Smooth?
Hey, shout out my man Chase. Shout out everyone staying tapped in with us today. Another episode of Fast and Loose is out right now. We're creeping up there, man. We're almost at 20 episodes. You're getting close there. Pretty close. If you want some more JB, the No Chill podcast is out right now and dropping some Woodward ringside stuff on the YouTube channel as well for Woodward. So definitely stay tapped into that as well. And hey, let's have a good day.
T-Foss, I see him over there. Shout out to the legend. He has to take off now, but shout out to T-Foss, the legend. Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, vet of the network. What up, though, brother?
Hey, as we said before, Riley Green, top 5 positional player in the American League this season. All-star, that man. All-star. That's
He
actually
said
fair.
better than Aaron Judge the past 2 weeks.
Past 2 weeks, Aaron Judge is an alien.
But Riley Green doesn't have an iced out chain like Aaron Judge does.
Hey. Riley
He's
Green
old.
and
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Judge, and I'm the Riley Green Slappy of America, are not the same. And I love Riley Green. But
shit.
Riley Green greater than Ellie De La Cruz.
Hey, you know what? It's your boy Brandon Day, KD Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential pistol reporter and writer for the
hating
network.
on
You guys
Ellie
have a
De La
blessed
Cruz.
day. Thank you for being here and supporting us. Smash that like button if you didn't get the opportunity to. And you know what? Stay tapped in with all of Woodward Sports. Let's go.